cleaneats.com. Our cafe is back open, sanitized, and waiting to serve you healthy lunch and dinner options for dine-in, takeout, curbside, or even delivered through our delivery partners. Clean Eats, it's a lifestyle. 805 Red Banks Road, Arlington Village.
This is Martin Truex Jr., and as a NASCAR Cup Series champion, I love one-stop shopping. When I need fresh tires or fuel during a race, my pit crew takes care of everything. Off the track, I have an Auto Owners independent agent. They handle all my insurance in one place: car, home, life, and business. Get your own pit crew and find a local agency with Auto Owners Insurance.
This is Brian Smith with Town Insurance in Greenville. Call me today at 756-8300. Go Pirates!
Hey, welcome to Jack Brown's.
Hey, can I get a cheeseburger and add lettuce and tomato?
No, we don't have it. You can get some macaroni and barbecue chips on it, though. Greg Brady style. Or cream cheese and jalapeno jelly. Cobra Kai. Or bacon, a fried egg, and some cheese. Chiplet. Or just cheese, like a cheeseburger.
Cool. I'll take a Greg Brady with those new cheese fries you guys got.
Sounds good.
Oh, I forgot. Can I get us at a ranch?
No! Jack Brown's, 805 Dickinson Avenue, Greenville.
Humana is proud to serve veterans. If you've recently turned 65 or become Medicare eligible, Humana would be proud to help you with your Medicare decisions or any questions that may arise. Let an agent assist you now to determine which Humana Medicare plan may best serve you. Humana can teach you about health plans, which will provide you with the access to products and programs to help support a healthy life. Humana is proud to be the National Medicare Advantage Plan provider to the veterans of foreign wars.
This is Denise Walker. Call me today at 434-531-5674 to get a no-cost, no-obligation Medicare benefits review.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. The following is an exclusive presentation of Pirate Radio, the voice of the pirate nation.
This is a great institution. It's a phenomenal place to be the football coach. It's got a really bright future. We're in the middle of a complete rebuild. That is what it is. The challenges are we have so many new players. We have so many young players. Even our old players are young.
It's disappointed. It starts with me. I came here to win games. That's what we got to do. We got to get this losing out of us, including me. It's tough when you work so hard at something and it doesn't always go right. We just got to keep working.
So nobody wants to hear excuses. Nobody wants to hear the reasons. All they care about is, you didn't beat Georgia State. So there's lots of reasons. The one thing that really does piss me off is when people take shots at the kids, because if there's any group that it's not their fault and that they're trying very hard to do what we're asking them to do, and they want to go out and play at a high level, it's our players. I like the players in our locker room. We have good culture in there. They're positive. They're going to play hard Saturday. They're going to play better Saturday. They're going to continue to improve.
Pirate fans, get ready. It's time to talk ECU football on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate Show. The Pirate Radio sports team will get you ready with a game-winning strategy, live reports from the stadium, a breakdown of all the X's and O's, and all the scores and previews from other games around the country. Let's get ready. It's time for Pirate football on the voice of the Pirate Nation. The Bud Light Pregame Tailgate is on the air.
All right, happy game day, Pirate fans. Clip Rock here inside the Pirate Radio studios, coming to you on Pirate Radio 92.7 FM in Greenville, 104.1 in Washington. We're on 1250, 930, online, pr927fm.com, and watch us right now on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Got a huge edition of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate coming your way as we will break this game down from every angle. Coming up later on in hour number one, the voice Jeff Charles will talk to the color analyst of the USF Bulls, Sam Barrington. Got that on the way. In hour two, you'll hear from Double B, Brian Bailey. Also, my one-on-one interviews with Donnie Kirkpatrick and Blake Harrell. We got the Shirley Rhodes Masterclass Football Theater coming up in hour number two as well. Stephen Igo and Ronnie Woodward join me in studio in hour number three, and we'll visit with David Glenn, talk about this game and other games going on around the country. We'll talk about tonight's action from a gambling perspective with the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau from Barstool Sports. Billy Weaver, Brian North also join us in the final hour. That and your interactions along the way here on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate And once again, our number one guest, Jeff Charles, in studio. Jeff, great to see you again on the game day.
Yeah, great to see you, Clip, and it's great to have football on Saturdays, isn't it? It's nice to have a home game. I wish the fans would be there. Of course, next week we will have fans, and it'll be good to even have 3,500 people in the stadium next week. Of course, on the road with this game against USF coming up tonight. So, you just got to try and find a way to win a game. This is a young football team, as we know, Clip, and these guys are really searching to find a win. I think if they can get a win at some point, it will help them a whole lot. But right now, they're fragile. They haven't won a game, and they don't have a whole lot of confidence. And so they've got to have some good things happen tonight.
Two desperate teams taking the field tonight at Raymond James Stadium, looking for something good to go their way. And we'll break it all down here on the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Let's get a quick break in. Shirley will come back. Only one complaint from Jeff and I. We need about 4 more TVs in here because there's a lot of action going on, Jeff. We're trying to follow it all. Right now, we've got North Carolina, Virginia Tech on the TV, and they are just lighting up the scoreboard as North Carolina just scored again. They extend their lead over Virginia Tech, but the Hokies in this game will keep you up to date on everything going on around the country. Shirley Rhodes on your scoreboard. It is a 4-hour edition of the Bud Light pregame tailgate, and we'll be back with you after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Here with Mike Mullis from Fixed NC. And Mike, you were telling me the other day, people ask you all the time, I didn't know you did that. What does that mean?
Anything that involves property damage repair, call us first. If it's your crawl space, you've got interior humidity issues, a water loss, your ice maker line breaks, obviously fire and smoke, everybody knows we do those. But anything that involves interior or exterior property damage, we're your repair experts.
Mike, how can everybody get in touch with you?
252-999-0001 or fixednc.com.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is former ECU tight end Bryce Williams from my friends at the Auto Store Group. If you're in the market for a quality used vehicle, then the Auto Store Group is for you. The Auto Store Group has 3 locations and over 150 quality used vehicles to choose from for all budgets. Shop their entire inventory today at theautostoregroup.com. The Auto Store Group, your hometown store and Pirate owned and operated for over 38 years. Go Pirates!
Hidden phone trade-ins, hidden plan requirements, hidden catches. You won't find them at US Cellular because we speak fair. Plus, when you switch right now, you can get $500 off the latest phones. Upgrade to fair. Upgrade to US Cellular. Requires new postpaid service plan, new line port in, credit approval, qualified smartphone purchase, and comes via monthly bill credit on a 30-month RIC. Taxes, fees, and additional terms apply.
This is Brandon Tate, owner and operator of Atlantic Wireless, an authorized agent for US Cellular since 1997. Visit AtlanticWireless.com to find the store near you. We go beyond the call.
This is Marcus Crandall, former ECU Pirate and Grey Cup champion. And you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
Listening to the Bud Light pregame tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. For the latest breaking news, interesting stories, and awesome contests that can make you a winner, be sure to follow Pirate Radio on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PR927FM. Join the close to 50,000 followers today at PR927FM. Now let's head back into the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Rock.
Alrighty, welcome back into hour 1 of the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Clip Rock, Shirley Rhodes, Glenn Griffin, the voice, Jeff Charles hanging out in hour number 1. Make sure you are watching us and chiming in along on the program, John Moody. And John brings up a very good point, Shirley. John says, not going to lie, I missed the We'll Pop the Top on the Week 3 edition of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Next. Sorry, John. I don't know why I'm not doing that this year. I've had a lot of changes. New studio, new intro. Maybe I'll bring it back next week, Shirley. What do you think?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I figured you would have.
I know. That's on me. I mean, that is clearly on me. All right. Speaking of interactions with folks, had a ton of them last night on Twitter because I asked the question. This is the question of the day, and you can chime in, and I can't wait to hear the voices answer for this one, too. You can pick one Pirate from the past to put on the roster for tonight's game. Just one, and just for tonight against South Florida. Who would you pick? And my answer, I think South Florida's going to try to run the football tonight. They're struggling at the quarterback position. They're going to play multiple quarterbacks, it appears. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I think they're going to try to run the football. I want a guy to stop the run. They can clog up the middle. And we had some Terry Williams responses, but I'm going to go with Linville Joseph as the player I would take. So, Jeff, let's hear you've called a lot of Pirate football over the years. Who do the Pirates need in the lineup tonight?
Can I pick about 10 guys? But you only want one. By the way, Cliff, that's an excellent question. That's a very, very good question. I'm going to go with your same philosophy on stopping the run and having somebody come out of the shadows defensively, but I'm going to go with Robert Jones.
All right.
And when I say Robert Jones, I am dating myself a little bit because, Clip, gathering from what your responses have been to this question, I mean, you've got to go back a long way for Pirate fans. A lot of them weren't around or they were very young during the Peach Bowl years, so I'm not too surprised that a lot of the responses you've gotten are from people who've played here in the last 20 years or so. But it's been a long time ago since that 1991 season and the 1992 Peach Bowl. But I will go with Robert. You know, the Pirates really haven't had that middle linebacker presence since, or somebody who was that good and that talented. But Robert Jones was 6'3", 240. He could hit you. He could cover. I mean, he was just a great, great player. He went on, of course, to have the great career in the National Football League. And I'd like to have him out there in the purple and gold tonight for the Pirates.
That was a popular answer, Jeff. Also, we let's see, other linebackers. Jeff Carr was an answer. Pernell Griffin was brought up. Quentin Cotton, who knows what he would have done last year here if he had not gotten injured. So we had, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff, because Bubba said Robert Jones and tagged him on it, and Robert Jones responded last night and said, if I could suit up, nothing will be ran between the tackles. Right now, I need to show these young whippersnappers how to play linebacker. So he's ready to go.
Well, we can suit him up. And I've seen Robert within the last year or so, and he looks like he could go out there and play. He looks great. And my goodness, what a great career he had here at ECU.
And we had a ton of responses. Another player who got involved in it, somebody said, we need offensive line help. And they said Eric Graham. And I said, help us out, Eric. And Eric said, I got 2, maybe 3 drives in me if they're quick. And so maybe Steve Shankweiler will use a little load management with big Eric Graham.
Yeah.
But a lot of different answers. And look, hopefully they can take the 11 on offense, the 11 on defense, and beat South Florida without the help of some ECU legends. But to do that, Jeff, the $1 million question, what do they have to do tonight? Well, what do you want to see out of this? Let's start with the offense for ECU. How do they get rolling, Jeff?
Well, what I want to see is them score a touchdown this week because they weren't able to do it last week. You know, it was a tough day at the office last week, and the 4 turnovers, and Holton had the 3 picks. You can't do that. You can't turn it over 4 times and win. USF turned it over 5 times. At Cincinnati, they threw 5 picks last week, and of course they lost 2. So you can't turn it over like that. And, you know, every time I sit down with Mike Houston, he says basically the same thing. He says, we want our guys to play fast. We want them to go out there and have fun and not think too much. But when you're young and you really don't know exactly what to do on every single play, I mean, there's that unsure feeling. And I think we're seeing that a little bit with this young team, and that's to be expected. These guys are really young. I mean, they've got 54 new players on this team. But to answer your question, Cliff, they've got to get some semblance of the running game going in this game tonight. It's not going going to be easy. South Florida's got a good defense, but I hope that they can get the running game going a little bit. And then, of course, we've talked so much about it, even though the season is still very young, but C.J. Johnson's got to come on and be a bigger part of this offense. Tyler Snead and Blake Prohl have pretty much held up their end of the bargain. But, the offensive line, here we go again. I mean, it's kind of the same stuff as Clip, each and every week. And looking at the depth chart and what they're going to do tonight, Nyshad Strother will start again at the left tackle spot because Deontay Smith is out. He will not play. And that is a big loss because he's your most experienced offensive lineman. He is a good one. He is an American Athletic Conference player, but he won't play. Avery Jones, who's been playing different positions, will start at left guard. He's the North Carolina transfer. Now, Fry's back at center. He's been there. Sean Bailey's been on the left side. They've moved him now to the right guard position, so he's on the other side of the line. And then Bailey Malovic has been starting at right tackle. But when I sat down with Donnie Kirkpatrick, the offensive coordinator, and with Mike Houston, the head coach this week, I said, guys, you're playing this offensive line this Saturday, this game coming up tonight, without three guys that you thought were going to be your starters going into spring ball. Of course, the Pirates didn't have that, but looking at winter workouts and where you thought you were going to be, Deontay Smith, the left tackle, he's not playing tonight. You had Cortez Heron at left guard. He had the off-the-field issue. He's no longer in the program. And then at right tackle, you had Noah Henderson, and they were so high on Noah Henderson, he was going to be like the next big thing. He's 6'6", 330 pounds, and big kid who can move his feet. Well, he's had back injuries this year, Clip, and he's not been able to get on the field because of his back. And so those are three guys in your offensive line. They felt good about their offensive line going into this year, but tonight these three guys will not be playing, and it's really thrown a monkey wrench into what they're trying to do.
They felt good about it. They felt good about the depth because some of these guys you have starting are great backups, right, Jeff? I mean, guys you want in your program, but Mike Houston very high on Nyshad Strother, but not, throw him out to the wolves right now high. You know what I'm saying? Like that. This is a guy that he said, I think this week, he's going to be a great player by the time he leaves ECU, but you kind of miss some of that development when you're thrown into the fire like these guys are doing right now.
Yeah, and they have no choice, Clip. Yeah. He's a redshirt freshman. He got his feet wet some last year, and he is going to be a very good player here. And the good thing about Avery Jones, I mentioned him, he's only a sophomore. And then, of course, you've got Bailey Malovic. He'll be back for a couple of more years as well. And they're developing some young guys behind them. But it's just been very difficult for this offense to get on track because of how they've had to mix and match the offensive line. So it starts there. I am hoping that we see some of these guys grow up. It's not going to be easy. USF is good defensively. They played very well against Cincinnati last week. They played very well against the Citadel. And then, of course, they got blown out at Notre Dame. But they've got some good talent, and they've got some of the same guys that we've seen the last few years. They're a lot like UCF in a lot of different ways because their secondary is the strength of their defense, like UCF's defense was when we saw them. But they've got a graduate student back there. They've got a senior and two juniors in the secondary. They've all played a whole bunch of football. So Holton's going to have to be careful. That's one thing going into this game. It's a red flag with me. Holton's going to have to be really careful. These guys are ball hawks in the secondary, and they forced 7 turnovers already this year. So got to take care of the football.
And we mentioned it with Donnie Kirkpatrick during the Zoom. You'll hear it on my one-on-one interview that we'll have for you coming up next hour. But when you have an O-line that struggles like that, inexperienced, it really takes away a lot of your playbook and things you want to do, Jeff. So what can you do with an O-line that's struggling? I mean, what plays will work? What will we see tonight, you think?
Well, I think they're going to try and run the football. Now, hopefully they'll be able to run block a little bit better, but they've got the whole cast of running backs back again for the game tonight, and Penix will probably start. Chase Hayden, we'll see him. We'll see Harris and Mitchell, the two young backs. They're going to try and establish the run, and I think, with this offensive line having some problems up front, we'll see Holton dump the ball off quite a bit to his backs, or also, little out patterns, that kind of thing, some quick slants, that kind of thing to try and loosen things up. Yeah. It's just difficult for Holton to stand in the pocket for any length of time
and throw downfield
and try and throw the ball downfield because, my goodness, as we saw last week, he was just running for his life on almost every play. And to take nothing away from Georgia State, I mean, it is Georgia State. They're good, But you would think tonight USF is going to be another notch better talent-wise in this game. So it's going to be hard. I know the guys are doing the best they can. The offensive line is working so hard. Steve Shankweiler's a great offensive line coach, but they're just so young, Clip. It's just been very difficult for them.
Jeff, let's flip it over and talk about USF's offense versus ECU's defense. And we know the issues with ECU and kind of how we got to where we are now. What in the world happened down there in Tampa, Jeff? Because it wasn't long ago that Willie Taggart and the Bulls were literally running up the score on the Pirates, putting up 50 and throwing the ball late in the game. And, Quentin Flowers and Marlon Mack and just a ton of talent on that side of the ball. Taggart leaves. Charlie Strong comes in, who's a good football coach. But, man, it went downhill in a hurry. Now Jeff Scott in his first year trying to figure things out. But really a major drop-off, a dramatic drop-off from what we've seen from USF the last few years.
Charlie Strong had a year, Clip, in which he started 7-0. You may remember, I think it was 3 years ago. And then they lost 6 straight, and they never recovered from that. Never got back from that. They came into the next year and struggled, and then last year they struggled again. And so they have dropped off from what they were. Remember when they were a top 25 program going back when Jim Leavitt was the head coach. Remember, he built that program from scratch. He went out and bought the first footballs, and all of a sudden they had that one incredible year.
Got to number 2 in the nation.
Got to number 2 in the country, and they were on national television, and everybody was talking about the USF Bulls. And then, of course, things unraveled for him, and then he was out, and then they've changed coaches, just like every program does. And now Jeff Scott is here trying to rebuild their program. And I didn't know this until I was doing my homework for the game this week. Jeff Scott is the son of Brad Scott, who was the head coach at South Carolina that coached against the Pirates back in the 90s.
I didn't know that, Jeff, until Rick Smith brought it up, because Coach Smith knew him coming up. And did you know that Brad Scott is I'm trying to think of his title now, he's like the chief of staff. Chief of staff at USF now. I
thought he was working for Trump.
I didn't know that was a position.
I didn't either, but
in a football program.
But he's the chief of staff, and he's now with his son. You see this happen in the coaching profession.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff Scott's only 38 years old, and he's only been at Clemson. He was at Presbyterian 1 year, and then he went to Clemson for 12 years and was a part of Dabo Swinney's staff and all the great success they've had. But he's only 38 years old. He has a great opportunity here. This is a good football coaching position at USF, and he has his dad now, as you mentioned, on the staff. So we'll see what he can do. He's known as an offensive guy, and we know how good Clemson has been offensively over the years. That's what he's going to try and do. And they've got some weapons, Clip, and that one weapon that scares me tonight is Johnny Ford. Little story about Johnny Ford. The previous staff, Coach Scotty Montgomery and his staff, they spent, I can't tell you how much time and effort in recruiting Johnny Ford when he was coming out of Miami. And I remember Scotty telling me we're going to get Johnny Ford, and they thought they had him. Well, he ended up at USF. Now, he's had some issues off the field, and people down there tell me he's not a bad kid, but he's just had some distractions and some things. So he's missed games. He's been suspended at least once, maybe twice since he's been there. But, Clip, he might be the fastest guy in the American Athletic Conference. He is a blur, and he's just a little guy. He's 5'5", 170 pounds, but he can really motor, and he is a game breaker. He's a home run hitter. When they hand the ball off to him or he returns kickoffs, that's why I'm hoping tonight Jake Verity just booms it right on out of the end zone like he usually does, because you don't want this guy to touch the ball too many times, because it's only a matter of time before he can break one. So he's a quality, explosive player that really does give you a cause for concern in this game tonight.
Jeff, do you have enough room on your board there for all the quarterbacks you might be seeing tonight? Because they are trying to figure out what they got at that position.
They really do, Clip, and I have 4 of them on my board, and we have been told that Jordan McLeod will start.
We saw him last year.
We saw him last year, and he played well last year, Clip. I remember leaving the stadium last year. He was a freshman, and I thought to myself, well, their quarterback worries are over for the next 4 years. They've got their guy, because he looked that good against the Pirates, but he's just not quite developed like they thought he would. And he will start, though, tonight. I still think he's a really talented kid. He was 9 of 12 against the Pirates last year for 102 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Ran the ball pretty well. He's a run-throw guy. He's very athletic. He's 6 feet, 193 pounds. They would like for him to be able to throw the ball better, but they'll probably ride him tonight. I'm hearing that he's going to get about 75% of the snaps tonight. At least that's the game plan going in. They've got a really interesting guy behind him, and Noah Johnson, who played at Alcorn State and is a transfer from Alcorn State. He's a Florida kid. He's from Tampa. But they tell me when you just look at tools that he's probably the most talented guy they've got on their roster. They use him as a wildcat, so look for that tonight. 0 coming into the game. And also a kid, Cade Fortin, who was at North Carolina, transferred from the Tar Heels to USF. He was a big-time recruit out of Sewanee, Georgia. We could see him, even though he's not played very much. And then they have a true freshman. His last name is Marsh. They think he could be their quarterback of the future. They're just trying to get his feet wet. But you're right. They're playing a whole bunch of guys. And the problem for them, they've been throwing a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, and I wonder, Jeff, if we weren't in this 2020 year where the classifications, reset next year, basically. If you're a freshman, you can play again as a freshman, all that. Would Jeff Scott be doing this? It's almost like he's treating this as an extended practice to get these guys reps and see what he's got for 2021. I'm wondering if this was a normal year, if he'd be running 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the game, because you definitely don't see it.
No, you don't, and that's an interesting question, Clip, but I think he's just in the same kind of boat when you look big picture with his program that Mike Houston is in with ECU. Now, this is Mike's second year. This is his first year there. They're just really trying to evaluate their talent and their personnel, and probably at every position, and they really don't know what they've got at this point. So he just continues to shuffle his quarterbacks in and out, and some of them had a little more success than other ones have. So, again, I'm expecting McLeod certainly to start, and I'm expecting McLeod to play the majority of the time in the game tonight.
Well, Jeff, one spot ECU has had an advantage in so far this season is special teams. And, of course, we know what we got in Jake Verity, the Pirates with a little trickeration last week on a fake field goal, and also, of course, Blake Prohl blocking the punt, taking it to the house, a lot like TJ Lee did. It was very similar to that play with the scoop and score. Something to note, South Florida did give up a kick return for a touchdown last week. So, Jeff, when you're in a game like this that you think is going to be a pretty close ball game, special teams could be a factor tonight.
Oh, no doubt about it, Clip. And they work really hard on special teams at ECU. And you go back to last week, and they did a great job. And again, Mike told me and Coach Houston told me that they've had that fake field goal play in for 2 years, and they just had an opportunity to use it when they came out, and they saw the defense that Georgia State was in, and it worked to perfection. Tyler took off and ran for the touchdown, and Blake Prohl had the block punt and the scoop and score, as you mentioned, for the touchdown. So they played very well. Jake Verity was Jake Verity. He did miss the extra point.
Yeah, that was strange.
It was, but he was 3 for 3 on his field goal attempts. I think this guy is one of the premier kickers, not only in this conference, but I think he's one of the best kickers in the nation. I really hope that Jake, he's a great kid, Clip. I really hope he gets a chance to kick on Sundays. I certainly think he is good enough, and I hope he can get into a camp and get a fair opportunity and win a job in the National Football League next year. And then John Young was, he's not spectacular, but, he's steady. And if you're punting the ball at 41, 42 yards per boot, I mean, that's pretty decent, and that's what he usually gives you. And so he punted the ball again last week. He was consistent punting the ball. We didn't see Luke Larson, the Australian freshman, punt last week, but we may see him. He's the punter of the future here. But you can't really criticize special teams very much. They came up big. In fact, coming out of the game, when you say offense, defense, special teams, well, offense didn't look very good, defense didn't look very good, but the special teams did look good.
Absolutely. Visiting with a voice today in hour number 1 of the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Let's take a timeout, Shirley. When we return, Jeff goes one-on-one with the color analyst of the USF Bulls, Sam Barrington. We'll get another in-depth scouting report on what USF will bring to the table tonight as they meet the Pirates, 7 o'clock at Raymond James Stadium. We'll take a timeout, come back. More Bud Light pregame tailgate on the way after this. Chico's Mexican Restaurant is the home of the best margaritas. Grab your amigos and head to Chico's every Tuesday for the Gulf of Mexico, a huge 46-ounce lime margarita for only $6.99. On Thursdays, relax and enjoy half-price pitchers of Chico's house margaritas. Choose from lime, strawberry, blood orange, raspberry, or peach. For Mexican food and fun, it's got to be Chico's Mexican Restaurant in downtown Greenville and online at chicosrestaurant.com. Chico's, where the fiesta never ends.
Your CBD store in Greenville has the highest quality CBD products in the country. Your CBD store is the first and only brand that carries USDA certified organic products such as gummies, honey sticks, and high absorption water soluble liquids, which are all made in the United States. They even offer products for your pet. The educated staff will help you answer any questions, and you can stop in anytime to get a free sample. Your CBD store, locally owned and operated, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 6, right beside Duck Donuts in Greenville. North Carolina state parks are now open for visitors. Parks should be used for exercise, fresh air, getting out in nature, or a day trip as the state safely reopens. Visitors should enjoy themselves, but please remember the 3 W's. Wear face coverings, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. Focus on moving through the park, keep social distancing in mind, and avoid large groups. While most facilities and activities will be open, please contact any state park before your visit with questions or visit ncparks.gov/open.
Can't make it to the game? Relax. Bostic Sugg Furniture can provide you with the best seats in the house. We have the area's largest selection of Lazy Boy motion furniture in stock and ready to go. Lazy Boy recliners, reclining sofas, love seats, and reclining sectionals in hundreds of colors, styles, fabrics, and leather, all at a very comfortable price. Remember, when it comes to Lazy Boy motion furniture, we're your ticket to the best seats in the house. Bostic Sugg Furniture in Greenville.
Hey Pirate fans, the Papa John's menu has grown again with the all-new grilled buffalo chicken papadilla. The papadillas are part sandwich, part pizza, and are only $6. Choose from the all-new grilled buffalo chicken, Philly cheesesteak, Italian, pepperoni meatball, and barbecue chicken and bacon, all for only $6 each. Also for a limited time, get any large 5-topping pizza for only $13.99. Place your order today online at papajohns.com and sign up for Papa Rewards. Papa John's, the official pizza of the ECU Pirates.
With rates being historically low, now is the best time to buy or refinance your home. This is Talbot Green with Angel Oak Home Loans. Now is the time to take advantage of the opportunity to buy more home or refinance your current mortgage. The combination of our local team's experience and Angel Oak's wide offerings of products from standard conventional, government, and portfolio loans has something for most financial situations. For more information, call Talbot Green, Joanne Weir, or Wanda Hager at 751-2060.
NMLS 1719250 and 685-842. Equal housing lender.
This is Mike Houston, head football coach at East Carolina University, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show. Now, with the Pirate Radio scoreboard, here's Shirley Rhodes.
All right, things are starting to get a little interesting on multiple games. The one we've been keeping an eye on is North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech just scored a touchdown. They are now trailing North Carolina 56-43 with about 5 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in the game. Also, LSU is trailing Missouri 45-41 with about a minute and a half to go in that game. NC State holding on to a 10-point lead over Virginia, 31-21 with less than 3 minutes to go in the game. Oklahoma hanging on to a 31-17 lead over number 22, Texas. And Duke has a 32-24 lead over Syracuse in the fourth quarter. Army has a 7-3 lead over the Citadel in the third quarter. And that is a look at your scoreboard. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Broad.
All right, we are watching a review in the LSU game, and they are going to call it the call on the field is completed past the 1 yard line. LSU trying to get in to take the lead here late in the game. And Jeff, as you know, these college football games take forever. There are tons of stoppages. Every first down it stops. The clock seems like it's never moving. When you see reviews and you're calling a game, do you want the call to get right even if it takes a little longer, or do you wish they would just kind of make a call and go on with the next play?
Well, you want them to get it right, Clip, but my criticism is it takes too long for the reviews. Go ahead and have the review. I'm all for the review, but my goodness, sometimes it just takes so long. And if you're doing the radio broadcast or the telecast, you got a lot of time to fill and try and say something interesting while they're trying to get the call right. But you're right, these games go forever. I watched some of the Houston-Tulane game the other night. It was 49-31. Yeah, going into a game like that where you know Houston's going to score a lot of points, and Tulane, they can score too. You just know it's going to be a long, long night, and that's what it was. I mean, this Virginia Tech-North Carolina game that we've been keeping up with, I mean, they kicked that thing off at noon, and here they are, you know, still 5 minutes to go in the game. So these games take forever, and it's because the offenses score so much. And, you know, you have so many touchdowns, so many passes, and the clock is stopped, and all the television timeouts. I talked to a friend of mine last year, Clip, and he told me, he said, I went to a Division III football game the other day, and, of course, it was not on television. He said both teams ran more of an option kind of running game. He said it was wonderful. We sat there, and the game went so fast, and it was fun to watch, and, you know, in about 2 hours and a half, the game was over.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I kind of miss those days, to be honest with you.
No doubt. Visiting with the voice, Jeff Charles, here in hour number one. And tell you what, let's get a closer look at the USF Bulls as Jeff Charles goes one-on-one with Sam Barrington from South Florida.
Thanks, Clip. A visit now with Sam Barrington. He's the radio network analyst for USF football and a former Bulls linebacker. Sam was drafted by the Green Bay Packers in the 7th round in 2013. He also spent time with the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Bills. Always good to talk football with Sam Barrington. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I mean, I think, you know, first of all, thank you guys for having me on your show last year while I was in town. I thought that was awesome. So I was elated to hear back from you and about another opportunity. I mean, how could I turn it down?
Well, you're very kind. I appreciate that. Let's talk big picture first, Sam, before we talk football. It was disappointing news at USF last week when 30 positions were eliminated in the athletics department. Did the folks there see that coming, and what's been the reaction to that?
Well, I appreciate you bringing it up, specifically because you know, you look at what's going on from an economical crisis standpoint, you know, depending on what industry you're in, depending on what business line of business you're in. And COVID affects everyone, right? It doesn't just affect the players, and it's not just about keeping the players safe, but here you have people who maintain position for years at a time, people who have families to feed, and now because of what's been going on with a decrease in revenue for the university, for the athletics department, there have been a ton of position decreases. So I think USF overall, the culture is to be informed, and I think a lot of people around the building saw what was happening around the country and saw what was happening. I believe it was Memphis who was the first candidate in the AAC who cut their staff. So with us also being in the AAC, I think that was just a clean indication that there was some potential that it happened at USF as well. I'm actually employed by Tampa Bay Entertainment Properties and the Bennett Sports Entertainment Group. I'm not employed by USF, so it just didn't necessarily affect me. It didn't hit as close to home for me, but being that that's my alma mater and I've worked with some of those same people, obviously it's something that, you know, my heart goes out to those people, and I'm sure it's going to have some type of effect on the university here in the coming weeks and in the future.
Sam, let's talk some football now. The new coach is in place, Jeff Scott. He is in his first year. He comes from Clemson, where he was co-offensive coordinator. What does Coach Scott bring to the table, do you feel, for USF football?
I think he brings a wealth of knowledge primarily. And success leaves clues. He spent a ton of time with Clemson. We've seen how successful they've been, how successful they've been in the past few years. So that's a reason in itself. If we wanted to close the book on the reasons why that was a great hire by Michael Kelly, I think that there is good enough. But he also brings youth, right? And we can't ignore how valuable that is, specifically because you see the direction that the culture of college football is headed in terms of what the needed criteria is for a coach to connect with his players. Scott brings that to the table. He's energetic, he's knowledgeable, he's passionate, and he truly connects with the players, and you saw that in a short amount of time. And I think that's something that Coach Charlie Strong failed to do in the last year and a half that he was with the guys. I think his reputation initially excited a lot of people around the Tampa, Florida market, but I think he failed to get that done, and that's one of the things that Jeff Scott has gotten done very early on. And you look at the morale of his team. You know, they've lost some games at this point, but you look at the morale, you look at the playing style, and you look at the energy on the sideline. Those guys are out still trying to get it done. They just aren't getting it done. So that's an indication that they're still playing for their coach in the midst of COVID, in the midst of all the social injustice things that players were advocating for in the offseason. So he's a special guy. He actually recruited me when I was in high school, so that shows you how long that he and I have known each other. But he's just a special guy, and I think he's going to do some great things for the program.
We're visiting with Sam Barrington. He is the radio network analyst at USF and a former Bulls player. Well, let's talk about the season to this point, Sam. 1-2, a win over the Citadel 27-6, and then things were tough at Notre Dame, losing that one 52-0. And then, from what we understand, played pretty well, especially defensively in the loss at Cincinnati last week, 28-7. But I'll tell you what, when you throw 5 picks, that's hard to overcome, isn't it?
It's really hard to overcome. And the thing, you know, obviously I have a job description here, right? I'm analyzing the game, and I'm a commentator, right? But, you know, if I had to step out of the booth and become a fan of USF, the only thing that itches me is that they haven't necessarily decided who the quarterback is. And what that does is it creates a scenario where you're going to have 5 interceptions. Maybe 2 or 3 of those interceptions really should have happened. Maybe I could argue that none of them should have happened. But the reality is, when you're playing multiple guys, it's hard for a guy to get in rhythm. But Jeff Scott has said he's looking for the guy who not only just manages the game but throws the ball well and give USF and the guy that gives USF the best chance to go out and compete on a week-to-week basis. And he's adamant that he hasn't found that yet. And so he said that he wanted to use the first 3 games to find out who that guy was. So I think this coming weekend is the first game that we're going to see a quarterback play maybe 75% a game. You look at a guy like Cade Fortin, who actually came down from the Carolinas, who probably hadn't had as much of an opportunity from a game time standpoint as the other guys. But guys like Noah Johnson and Jordan McLeod, you're probably going to see one of those guys be the number 1 guy here moving forward. And then they have a rookie that you can't necessarily forget about, because when you look at Coach Scott being in his first year, and the opportunity to take I used rookie earlier, but to take a freshman and mold him for the next 4 years to be that guy that you want to see throwing the ball for you on Saturdays. That's a unique opportunity for Jeff Scott as well. But I think this weekend is the first weekend that you're going to see a guy take at least 75% of the snaps at quarterback, and you'll see some better quarterback play.
Well, we'll see who that player is going to be. It could be Jordan McLeod. And Sam, you know, last year, of course, you were here. USF beat ECU 45-20, and McLeod had a really good game that day. And I remember walking out of the stadium thinking, well, USF's got their quarterback here for the next 2 or 3 years. This kid's really talented. He looked great today. But he's not always played as great against other teams as he did against ECU last week. So where do you think he is in his development now? Tell us a little bit about that.
I honestly think Jordan McLeod, if I had to handpick a guy and say who should be the starter at USF, I think Jordan McLeod is that guy. But the thing about Jeff Scott, he comes from a culture that's produced, and I don't even need to go down the list of names of quarterbacks that Clemson has produced, but they've produced some guys. So the criteria that was needed for Jordan McLeod to set himself in front of all the other guys under under the Charlie Strong regime, the criteria is different for Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott is looking for a different measure of intangibles. He's looking for a different mental aspect. He's looking for a different physical aspect. He's brought a new scheme from an offensive standpoint to the table. So Jordan McLeod, essentially, he's starting back from base one. So he'll have to go back to the table and prove that he's the guy. Would I like to see Jordan McLeod get stronger? Yes. Would I like to see him get faster and have more power on his throws? Yes. But at the same time, I'm confident that he's a young guy who still has he has a lot of football in front of him. And if given the opportunity, I think he's the guy for USF at quarterback right now.
Johnny Ford is a kid that has a lot of talent and is a kid that was highly recruited, Sam, by East Carolina. There was a time I remember with the previous staff that they really thought they were going to get Johnny Ford. Then, of course, he stayed in state and went to USF. A kid that's really talented, a home run hitter, but he's had his issues off the field. Tell us where his focus is now and how important is Johnny Ford to this offense?
I think one of the things that I don't know if it's talked about enough in college football, you have to consider where these kids come from. These kids don't, and this is not me knowing every specific information about Johnny Ford's upbringing or where he's from as a young man. But this is a kid who comes out of the inner city of Miami, Florida, right? The same geographical area that's produced some of the best talent that not only college football has seen, but the NFL has seen as well. So with that being said, it's sometimes when a young man comes to college, he's coming to college to get an education, and if he's on scholarship to play a sport, he's coming to play that sport. But a lot of these young men, this is the first time that they've ever been outside of the environments that they grew up in. So there's a lot of maturity that has to happen for a lot of these young men. There's a lot of maturity that happens for a lot of young men coming to college. So I think Johnny Ford he's just one of those young men who's working to find out who he is and who he's maturing. I'm not up to speed on everything that he's dealt with off the field, but I can tell you I've said it. I've met the kid. He's not a bad kid. He's not a bad kid at all. He has a really good heart, and he loves the game, and you can see that when he's out on that field. I mean, I played against some guys, but I can count on one hand how many guys I've seen who has the ability to change a game like a Johnny Ford. The problem is he's the only guy right now he's the only guy for USF right now that has that, I won't say that has that playmaking ability, but just actually the only guy who's getting it done. I think Kelly Joyner is also a home run guy. You look at the guys they have on the outside. We saw what Bryce Miller did last year in the slot position. We saw what Randall St. Felix has done throughout his whole career. So I think at this point, it's honestly just about finding the guy who can get the job done week in and week out, and finding more guys who can kind of play a supporting role to Johnny Ford. But I think Johnny Ford is probably one of the more special ball players I've seen on the college level since I've been around the game.
That says a lot. Sam, a final question for you. We'll let you go today. We appreciate your time. What's the atmosphere going to be like later tonight at Raymond James Stadium? What kind of a crowd? How many tickets have been allotted? What can you tell us about that?
I think there's a total of 8,000 tickets that have been allotted. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think the fans who are going to be there are going to be very happy fans. So I think there'll be some noise despite only 8,000 people being in the stadium this evening. And I think USF, I think those players, they're going to be very excited to play in front of fans. So I think they're going to come out and they're going to make some big plays early on. It's the first opportunity to play in front of fans. I'm sure the coaching staff is going to emphasize that. But it's just going to be a great outing. It'll be a great atmosphere tonight, and it'll be a great game.
Sam, thanks so much for the visit. Always enjoy visiting with you and talking football, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Always good to talk football with Sam Barrington. He is the analyst on the USF Radio Network and a former Bulls and NFL player. Coming back with more right after this timeout.
Warren's Hot Dog Pizza, homemade lemonade.
Hey, Pirate Nation, Warren's Hot Dogs, 2 locations are open for business in Greenville and Chocowinity. Both locations have drive-through windows, so stop by today for hot dogs, pizzas, subs, apple and peach turnovers, homemade lemonade, and breakfast in Chocowinity, featuring homemade cheese, ham, and chicken biscuits, plus sausage dogs and more. Warren's in Greenville, across from Ron Ayers Motorsports, and in Chocowinity, next to the fire department. Warren's Hot Dogs. Want some? Get some.
Are you trying to reduce clutter? Want to save a tree? Greenville Utilities can help. E-bill is a simple solution. Imagine getting an email letting you know your bill is ready. And with a few clicks on your computer or smartphone, you can review and pay your bill. It's just that easy. Signing up is simple. All you need to do is to log on to your account at guc.com and update your contact information and e-bill setting. You can even continue to receive a paper bill if you'd like. E-bill from Greenville Utilities. Just one of the ways GUC is here for you.
Hi, this is Luke Kuechly. Last season, I was captain on defense. This season, since so many of us will be watching football from home, I'm football watching with Pepsi. And you know me, I pour everything I've got into it. All right, football watchers, let's do this. Opening click-offs. Here we go. Click on, click off. Click on, click off. Stretch that thumb. You can't have finger fatigue bringing you down into postseason. Nice job. And my favorite, second half sip-offs. Pepsi's up, lift, pull, open. Ice cold Pepsi and watching football. Nothing better.
It's not game day without a delicious, refreshing Pepsi, the official soft drink of the National Football League. Head to your nearest retailer, grab your Pepsi before kickoff, then sit back, relax, and cheer on your favorite team. Pepsi, made for football watching.
Medicare is not one size fits all, but which plan is right for you? Hi, I'm Denise Walker, and I'm a licensed insurance agent here in North Carolina. Whether you are turning 65, new to Medicare, or already have a plan, I can help you compare your Medicare options. I can help you find a plan offering low to no monthly premiums, prescription drug coverage, and a wide range of additional benefits like dental, hearing, vision, and more. Call me today at 434-531-5674 to get a no-cost, no-obligation Medicare benefits review.
You don't need a big meeting. You don't need a birthday. You don't need any excuse at all. You just need to love subs. Times 12. Order the Jersey Mike's catering box today. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
It's Jersey Mike's time. One Club Supreme? Check. What's Aaron's Way? Only $2.99 for Pepsi and Lay's? I'm in. Order your sub Aaron's Way on the Jersey Mike's app or visit a Jersey Mike's store.
This is Big John Williams, strength and conditioning coach for East Carolina football, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Watch all of Pirate Radio's local programming on YouTube Live. Go to YouTube and search for Pirate Radio TV and subscribe today. Watch Pirate Radio Live Monday through Friday from 3 until 6 p.m. and the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate and U.S. Cellular fifth quarter on game days. Just go to YouTube and search Pirate Radio TV and subscribe. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Broad.
All right, getting you set for a 7 o'clock kickoff at Raymond James Stadium. ECU taking on South Florida tonight. Looking at some other games. Virginia Tech and North Carolina did indeed hit 101 to be exact, 56-45, that final score in Chapel Hill. Texas scores late and has tied Oklahoma. Have to get that one going here in the studio, Jeff Charles, and see what happens. Looks like they might be headed to overtime. Tennessee, an early 7-0 lead over Georgia on just a calamity of errors there, as Georgia had a ball snapped over the quarterback's head. Tennessee recovers for a touchdown. And, Jeff, we were watching kind of a sign of the times in football. These offenses throw the ball up and down the field. LSU gets to the 1-yard line, has 4 cracks at it, and can't score, and Missouri wins the game.
What a great win for Mizzou. That was a terrific win for them. They were 0-2 coming into that game, too, Clip, and they beat LSU, the defending national champs. So a big win for them. It's still kind of hard to get your head around that Missouri is in the Southeastern Conference, isn't it? You just don't think that way. You don't really think that Rutgers and Maryland are in the Big Ten.
Florida, Texas A&M did not feel like an SEC game today.
No, it just feels different. But things have changed, as we know, in recent years. But what a big win for Mizzou, and having that win for them at home was a big boost, I'm sure, for their program and their fan base.
Well, Jeff, speaking of things you can't wrap your head around, what's it like with the team being down in Florida and Jeff Charles being in Greenville? It's going to take a while to get used to, I would imagine.
Yeah, it really is, and it's strange, but I was remarkably pleased with what happened last week with our broadcast, Clip, and I'm a real critic of myself and what we do each and every week, so I'm really hard on myself, but it really worked out pretty well. And to be honest with you, at times I can see a big television monitor better than I can see the field from the press box. So we were able to do it well, and the guy who gets all the credit for this is David Horn. David's our engineer, producer, and he's just a whiz technically with everything that we do on the network, and he was able to pull everything together. It really went off without a hitch. And there are only 6 of us out there at the brand new production facility, the video production facility that ECU has constructed underneath the stadium. So, it's quiet out there. I mean, tonight we're going to be out there by our lonesome in the dark.
It's going to be a little eerie
doing the game. It is, and we're going to be. We can pull our cars right in underneath the stadium and walk in the door right there at the production facility, which is at the scoreboard end of the stadium. So it's kind of nice. They bring food out to us like they bring food into you guys doing your show. So now I know how that feels. So it's been good. And last week we had all the sound effects and we had the crowd noise all piped into our headset, where it would be very difficult to sit there and broadcast the game if you did not have that. If you were just like looking at the game and you're just talking to yourself. But once you get that crowd effects in your headset, it kind of feels like you're there. And then with 2 minutes to go in the game, we lost that crowd effect. I mean, nobody knew it because it didn't affect anything on the air, but I lost it in my headset. And so the last couple of minutes, I'm kind of like going, well, this would have been kind of hard to do if I didn't have that. But that's the only tiny little snafu we had. Everything went really well. And Kevin, I think, enjoyed doing it. Marty, David was there, twisting the dials as he does every week. And then Greg Pierce and Brian Mead are our video people. They're in the building as well, and they help us out with different things when we need them. So, yeah, it's worked out well. It really has. And as you know, Clip, we talked about this. There are just so many networks all around the country who are doing this, both radio and television-wise. It all started with Major League Baseball when Major League Baseball got cranked up this summer, and most of the TV and radio guys did not travel with their teams. They were doing it on a remote broadcast, and now we're into college football and NFL football, and a lot of networks are doing it remotely as well, just like we are. So our plan right now is to do all the football games remotely from Greenville, so we probably won't travel this year for football. Basketball's up in the air. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet for basketball, and we'll see what that situation is going to be like. Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, I heard some of it, Jeff, and you're right. With the crowd, you really can't tell that you're not there at the game. So I thought it sounded good, you and Kevin and the crew there. And Jeff and the crew will be on the call again tonight, coming up at 7 o'clock. I guess the best part of it, Jeff, is the drive home, right? You don't have to worry about a plane or...
I'll tell you what, Clip, if we're traveling this week and we're in Tampa, you're looking at somewhere between 3 and 3:30 a.m. back to Greenville. People don't realize how long it takes you to get on the airplane after the game is over. So let's say tonight the game starts at 7. Let's say hopefully it's over at 10:20.
10:30,
yeah. Well, by the time you're out of the stadium, it's 11:30. It's always an hour after the game is over to get out of the stadium. And traveling with 4 buses, then all 4 buses line up, has a police escort, and then you take off to the airport. As I remember it, from Raymond James to the airport's about 20 20 minutes, maybe even 25 minutes with traffic. And then here's the most frustrating part of the trip on a football charter is all 4 buses pull in, and with the way security has been in recent years, way before all this COVID stuff, all 4 buses pull in. We're on bus 4, so there are 3 buses ahead of us, and they just unload the buses one at a time. So there are 30 people or whatever it is, 35 people on each bus. So you literally sit there until your bus unloads.
If you're on that last one.
Well, you're on that last one. And then, of course, it just depends on who the people are with the security as far as how much they're going to pat you down. I mean, sometimes it's like, oh, you're good, go ahead. And then you get some people who just want to check, your shoes and everything else. And you stand there. And then you get finally on the airplane. And then it's another probably 15, 20 minutes before the airplane's in the air. So, and then it's 2 hours back. Make a long story short, the plane gets in here to Greenville. And then the other fun part of the trip is that you have all the baggage, all the luggage on the plane, and then you have to have the folks at the airport here. They do a good job. They come out with those little tractor deals and those wagons, and they unload everything. You're in the hangar, and you wait for them to all come in, and all they do is they just throw everything in a pile. So here's a pile, 6 feet deep, and there's one over here, and there's another pile 6 feet deep over here, and you got 125 people trying to find their bags at the same time.
And you're doing this for a night game at what time, would you say?
Well,
are you going through all this?
3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning, and then
fun.
back to Farm Vegas, another 15 or 20 minutes. So this week it'd have been 3:30. It'd have been 3:30 a.m. So I'm not going to miss that.
There you go. There's bright sides to everything, for sure, and that's one of them. All right, Jeff. Before we let you go and head over to Dowdy Ficklen Stadium, final thoughts on this one. I tell you, even if ECU had a 2-0 record right now, I'd be worried about this one because the history of this series has not gone their way at all, Jeff.
Oh, it's been a nightmare for the Pirates.
Yeah.
They have played USF 10 times, and the Pirates have lost 9 of the 10 games to USF. They've only had 1 win in 2014 when Ruffin McNeil was the coach. So USF has dominated the series, and they've got to stay away from the home run ball tonight. And again, I mentioned Johnny Ford, and his sidekick, Kelly Joyner, is also very quick as far as a running back is concerned. They've got some big play capabilities with this team, just like all the Florida teams do. They all have speed, they all have great quickness, and they have good talent at the receiver positions as well. So they've got to stay away from the big play tonight as much as they can, Clip, because they've got weapons, and I know they're only averaging 11 points a game, but you have to throw out that Notre Dame game. They had a bunch of kids out sick with COVID, and they ran into a buzzsaw up there and really got blitzed. But they're a much better football team than that.
Cincinnati, a very good defense as well.
Cincinnati, very good defense too.
Tough team.
Yeah, they really have, and they're better than they've shown on offense. I hope they don't find themselves tonight.
Right.
But the Pirates are going to have to try and stay away from the big play, and then offensively, like I said, they have to find a way to move the football, and maybe their quick passing game can get them down the field, and they can establish some kind of a run. And don't turn it over. Can't turn it over 4 times like they did last week.
The Voice, Jeff Charles, joining us hour number 1 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll see you bright and early next Saturday as we get ready for a noon kickoff against Navy.
Rather have those noon games than those 7 o'clock games, Clip. Just get up and go to the stadium and have fun and watch the game.
I'm right there with you, Voice, and we'll be doing that next Saturday, right back here with you, bright and early on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. All right, 1 hour in the books. Hour 2 is on the way. And we got a big hour 2 for you as we will hear from Double B, Brian Bailey. Also, I'll go one-on-one with Donnie Kirkpatrick and Blake Harrell. That and more on the way on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. We're back after this.
Hey, this is Jay from Villa Verde. Did you know that Villa Verde opened up its second location? Yes, it's Villa Verde Dos on Arlington Boulevard across the hospital. This new location is a fast, casual environment where you can make your own bowls for only $9.95. Choose from our fresh ingredients from our toppings bars or enjoy an amazing rotisserie chicken. We promise you can be in and out in less than 15 minutes. For a quick, healthy meal at an affordable price, visit us at Villa Verde Dos on Arlington Boulevard. Villa Verde, a platform for good.
Let us help you get back to business.
This is Donald Stocks
and Justin Judge of PIP of Eastern North Carolina.
We're ready to assist your business with branded PPE. Would you like face masks with your logo? We can do that. Plus custom social distancing signage.
Now is the time to ramp up your marketing efforts. Whether it's cutting edge, contactless, touchless marketing, or traditional direct mail, we can do it all.
We are PIP of Eastern North Carolina. Wouldn't it be great if you could get auto, home, life, and business insurance all from one agency? Well, that's where the Gavigan Agency comes in. They can help protect what is important to you. So why not simplify your life? See the Gavigan Agency in Greenville or give them a call today at 252-756-1400. Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio. Subject to underwriting guidelines, review, and approval.
UBE and PirateWear.com are proud to offer the Pirate Nation its largest inventory ever. Brand new Adidas is arriving daily, along with Under Armour, Columbia, and Russell Athletic. UBE is loaded with cargo, and new items are being added daily to PirateWear.com. Be sure to check out our children's store, The Crow's Nest, for all of your young pirates. UBE and PirateWear.com, an ECU tradition for 50 years. Go Pirates!
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show. Now, with the Pirate Radio scoreboard, here's Shirley Rhodes.
All right, let's run down some of the finals from earlier today. NC State was the winner over Virginia, 38-21. LSU loses to Missouri, 45-41. North Carolina beats Virginia Tech, 56-45. Duke beats Syracuse, 38-24. Texas and Oklahoma are in overtime. They are tied at 31 apiece. Tennessee has a early 7-0 lead over Georgia. Texas Tech leads Iowa State 7-0. Texas State leads Troy 3-0. Central Arkansas has an early 3-0 lead over Arkansas. And Texas San Antonio and BYU are still scoreless. And that is a look at your scoreboard. Now let's head back into the Bud Light
What show are we doing?
Bud Light pregame tailgate. Clip Rock.
I'll make up for it now. Did you do a Carl Lewis there?
Uh-oh. Yep.
Surely we have a Sam Ehlinger touchdown run. Texas has taken the lead in overtime.
Oh, no.
And now Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma will get the ball with a chance to tie, win, or lose. I guess all three options are on the table. But boy, oh boy, this would be the third straight loss for Lincoln and Oklahoma if Oklahoma's unable to score here.
When's the last time Oklahoma has lost 3 straight?
I've got that question a lot this week, and I do not know the answer because it has been a long, long time. I can tell you that.
Yeah, because even Bob Stoops didn't even have,
No.
I don't think he had 3 consecutive losses.
All right, so Rattler and company back on the field and trying to score here. I'll tell you what, I like the noon games if I could pick, just personally. As Jeff said, get up, get the game going, go home. You're able to watch some games at night. But one thing I do love about these night games, Shirley, we get to enjoy the football action as we do the Bud Light pregame tailgate, something we can't do, obviously, when we're on at 8 a.m. in the morning. Not much going on at that time frame.
Absolutely.
So it's fun to keep up with all the action, and Shirley ran over the scores. Man, it's a good win by NC State today as they pick up a W over Virginia. North Carolina rolls up 56 and a win over Virginia Tech. And how about the only team that can slow down BYU apparently is UTSA, as Shirley said. That one is scoreless. Coming up, a game Jeff and I were talking about off the air. Interested to see for multiple reasons, but mostly because Navy is next on the docket for ECU. But how does Navy respond after getting blown out by Air Force? They play Temple at 6, so the final hour of the show we'll have some updates on that game. But Temple playing their first game of their season. Navy already 1-2, and again coming off a blowout last week against Air Force, and midshipmen rolling into Greenville next Saturday for a noon kickoff. So we'll keep an eye on that one for sure. Other games going on tonight. And you wonder if Georgia and Alabama are looking ahead to their meeting next week. Well, Georgia did just tie things up with Tennessee 7-7 in the first quarter. Alabama will try to avoid the look ahead when they take on Ole Miss. And really the headliner tonight is the U for real. Is the U back? Miami taking on Clemson at 7:30 on ABC. So a great day of college football. And we'll keep you up to date on all the scores as Oklahoma now has it 1st and 10 at about the 14-yard line as they trail by 7 in overtime to Texas. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back shortly, and we will visit with Double B. Brian Bailey. He'll join us on the Fixed NC Live line, get his thoughts on ECU and South Florida. Also, if Brian Bailey could choose one player from the past to add to this ECU roster for tonight's game, who will he add? I think I already know the answer. I think it's going to be the same as Jeff Charles' answer in hour one. I think he's going to say Robert Jones. But we'll find out when we return on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. We're back with you after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
You know texting while driving is dangerous. That's not new information. Yet most people admit to doing it anyway. Drivers are 23 times more likely to be involved in a car accident while texting. Know the facts and wait to text. The danger is real and it applies to you. Auto Owners Insurance. The no problem people. Information provided by Virginia Tech Transportation Institute.
This is Brian Smith with Town Insurance in Greenville. Call me today at 756-8300. Go Pirates!
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Tom Brown from Brown & Wood Buick GMC Truck. We've been serving the Pirate Nation in Eastern North Carolina for 83 years. We have 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 showrooms, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer.
This month at Brown & Wood, get an all-new 2020 Buick Enclave and save over $9,500 off. As always, Brown & Wood is the home of the lifetime warranty.
We're located on Greenville Boulevard next to the Convention Center, or shop us online at brownandwoodauto.com.
Sawyer's Fun Park is now open in Greenville. This state-of-the-art 40,000 square foot facility features a 2-story LED interactive laser tag, a one-of-a-kind 2-story ninja course, a ropes course with a 180-degree zip line, and it's only one of 5 in the country that are indoors. Multiple climbing walls, a super cool arcade with 40-plus games, and a brand-new full-service cafe and bar for adults. Visit the brand-new Sawyer's Fun Park, now open, located right behind ARU on Corey Road, Greenville.
Hey everybody, this is David Glenn, and you're listening to my favorite station in Eastern North Carolina, Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. Did you miss a show on Pirate Radio? Listen to all of Pirate Radio's archived local programming by subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe today by going to the podcast app on your iPhone or Apple device and search for Pirate Radio Audio Archives. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, thank you, Shirley Rhodes. We are fat and happy here inside the Pirate Radio studios.
Fat and happy and nearly in a food coma.
Oh, touchdown, Oklahoma. What a throw, what a catch. And now Oklahoma an extra point away from tying it up in overtime. Thanks to Parker's Barbecue for the awesome pregame tailgate meal. What a day for Brian Bailey not to be here in studio, because we got barbecue, fried chicken, grilled chicken, ribs, all the sides, hush puppies, corn sticks, sweet tea. Parker's Barbecue, 3 locations in Greenville available for you. And, man, we had an awesome meal today, and that'll take us through the game and on into the post-game show later tonight. Double B, we're missing you, man, and we'll have some good food for you next week when you come back in studio.
I got news for you. I'm on the way right now, so hang on.
Come on in, man. Doors unlocked. Brian, by the way, Oklahoma adds the extra point. We're watching this one. It's in overtime. Texas scored late. They score first in overtime, and now Oklahoma has answered. And boy, both teams really need this one. Lincoln really needs this one, right? You can't lose 3 in a row at Norman. You know,
you really can't, and it's hard to believe that that's the predicament they're in. They were up 14 in that game, right? And they gave it all up, and now they're in overtime battling for their lives. And that's a weird game today between Texas and Oklahoma.
Looking around the country, big wins today by NC State, by North Carolina. Missouri knocks off LSU. And an upset, Texas A&M takes down number, 3 or 4 Florida. So it's already been a wild day in college football, Bailey.
Yeah, and, usually we always look at college football and we know at least 3 of the 4 that are going to be in the college football playoff. It seems like the same 3, and then they add one each year. But this year, LSU losing again, and everyone, it's going to be crazy down the stretch.
Yeah, and if Oklahoma wins this game, you'll have Oklahoma, Texas, and also LSU with 2 losses already. And I made the comment to Jeff Charles, these teams probably can't wait to get back to playing these non-conference cupcake games, right? They're tired of playing all conference games.
Yeah, they need to get in there and get some confidence with those cupcake games and then play with their own brethren, that kind of thing.
On that note, Bailey, South Florida has had a cupcake game, and that has been their only W of the season. South Florida knocked off the Citadel to start their season. ECU, and I was saying this week, if they'd have played Norfolk State, they probably win that game, so they've got that winning feeling, but they don't. Pirates are 0-2. South Florida's 1-2, but they've been beaten pretty badly the last 2 outings. You've got 2 kind of desperate, wounded animal teams going at it tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, you really do. And you look at what's going on in South Florida. I mean, they're playing musical chairs with their quarterbacks. The guy starts one week, and now he's 4th on the depth chart. So, I mean, that tells you that they've got all kinds of questions there. The Pirates don't really have questions there, but they've got to figure out a way to protect theirs. I mean, that's been the big issue as far as that goes. They got to figure out a way to give Holt Naylor some time back there. They got to get the ball to CJ. They just got to look like themselves on offense. And through 2 games, they haven't looked like themselves.
Bailey, got to get CJ Johnson going. I was encouraged by what Donnie Kirkpatrick said this week, and you'll hear my one-on-one interview with Donnie Kirkpatrick coming up in just a moment. But he talked about how CJ had, he got a lot of yards for the team on pass interference calls. He should have drew a couple more flags in the game last week. Said that he has been frustrated, but he's in a good headspace right now, and they think they're going to find a way to get him rolling this week, and they have to. You can't have a game with C.J. Johnson having 1 catch for 0 yards and expect to win. He's your big play guy. He's your playmaker. Got to get him going tonight in Tampa.
Yeah, you really do. And my first inkling of that came at the end of the Georgia State game. If you remember the camera shot on the TV broadcast, you saw Coach Houston talking with CJ right then. Mm-hmm. And so on Monday when I was talking to Coach Houston, I asked him, I said, I asked him if CJ was in the doghouse. And I'd heard different things that had been going on with that game. I think CJ wasn't in the doghouse per se, but they know, he had a little bit of an attitude going because he wasn't getting the football. And they understand they've got to get him the football. So I think that was part of the talk then. And then it was encouraging. Coach Houston said it early in the week that, hey, we know we've got to get that thing going. We've got to get the ball to CJ. We've got to figure out. Coach Houston told me on Monday, he said, I don't do a whole lot with the offensive staff, but I went in and I said, look, fellas, we got to figure out a way to get CJ involved. And so that's where that came from. And Donnie agreed, obviously, because he's the offensive coordinator, and he said it on Wednesday night with his meeting with the press that, hey, there's some rubs, there are some different kicks, there are some different things we can do to get him going, and they've got to get him going.
Well, I was made this week too, Bailey, and it was asked to Mike Houston this week about Holt Naylor's and kind of where he's at mentally right now, because, I mean, you've known the kid his entire life, but it was noted that he looked more down after that loss than maybe he ever has since he's been here at ECU, and you just hope that the offense can get clicking. They need some kind of confidence. They need a good drive. They need a big score. They need something positive to happen. And Bailey, they did not have any positives last week against Georgia State, not getting the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, and the more I look and reflect back on that game, and I know the average Pirate fan looks at Georgia State and says, "Hey, that should be a win." They're not in the American. They're not. They're a Group of 5 team in the Sun Belt. But if you look at the dynamics of that team, they've been to bowl games 3 of the last 5 years. They were really big and experienced up front, which is really East Carolina's weakness right now. I mean, the goal is under Coach Mike Houston and Big John to get those guys bigger, stronger, on that interior line offensively and defensively, and really, get some homegrown talent in there. And that's, we all know that's where you win football games, is those lines. And so I think it was one of those situations that it just turned into just a bad deal. It was a bad matchup. And Georgia State beating East Carolina was like East Carolina beating NC State and North Carolina. We always know, how the Pirates feel about that. And I think, you heard the post game with the Georgia State folks, and they were fired up. They were like, hey, this is an American team. This is a team that thinks they're 5 or 6 that they always talk about. And, we put it to them pretty good. So I think they had a little chip on their shoulder. And we talked about chips for a long time, and the Pirates play much better when they've got that chip going.
They out-chipped us. I talked about that with Ellerby on Monday. Their post-game press conference kind of sounded like what ours does after we beat a team that looks down on us. And it was a complete role reversal, Bailey, that we saw last week. So South Florida, you mentioned their musical chairs at quarterback. They have really, really struggled offensively. They are pretty good defensively, though, Bailey. I think that's the strength of their team. So I don't know. What do you think we see tonight? Does Donnie Kirkpatrick open it up and let Holton throw it 50 times? Or do you think these teams kind of slog it out? We see a lot of running and maybe a lower scoring, quicker moving game because of a lot of running going on.
Well, I think Donnie and Coach Houston really want to run the football. I think at some point, though, if you keep running the football, you got to realize if it's not working. There was a lot of talk about the 4th and 2 in the Georgia State game, and trying to run it down their throats, and they just couldn't move the ball. They just weren't penetrating. They weren't getting any push on the line. So I think that comes into play at some point. And I really think they've got to go back to spreading everything out. You can still run the football from the spread formation. And I think that's what they've got to get to. They've got to, get everybody out of there. That jumbled up stuff and, the tight end in there and everything, it's good on paper sometimes, but I think right now they've got to look at really spreading things out, trying to run the football that way. Sometimes it's hard to run between the tackles. And I asked about the fact that, how much does Holton have at the line of scrimmage? Back in the days of Coach Ruff and Lincoln when he was offensive coordinator, the quarterback had a lot of say up there. And they call a play, and you could either run the pass version or run the run version of the play. And I'm not sure how much of that Holton's, getting a chance to do and how much they want him to do. Holton does call most of the protections, and if I'm Holton, I change the protection in the line, and I say max protect every time. I don't want to get my butt killed back there.
I have tight ends, running backs, everybody back there helping them out to try to get a throw. What'd you say the other day, Bailey? There's not a lot of Mississippis being counted when Holton's got the ball.
That's right. Yeah. The opposition is not doing a lot of Mississippi counting, are they?
Double B, Brian Bailey, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. Bailey, while I got you here, your Cowboys get on track tomorrow against the Giants?
Well, it's one of those situations where if they don't, maybe this is the season. And playing in the NFC East, there's still time. There's still, I think one of those teams, is going to maybe not get hot. Maybe they'll get lukewarm and finish 9-7 or 8-8.
Room temperature, maybe?
Yeah, room temperature may be the best we can hope for. But, I kind of hope, the Giants have struggled offensively all year. Dallas has struggled defensively all year. Dallas can score with anybody in the league, but they can't stop anybody. And so it wouldn't surprise me if Daniel Jones can go out there and throw for 400 tomorrow, and the Cowboys might win a 31-30 game. But we'll just see what happens.
Well, you know who they got coaching up Daniel Jones, your guy Jason Garrett. So.
That's our big hope this week.
Jason Garrett revenge game coming up on Sunday as the boys take on the G-Men. Bailey, thanks for joining us, man. Come on by the studio. We'll be here all day, all night. So pick up some food and join us sometime.
Yeah, I may bring the whole family by. We'll just eat at the Parker's Buffet at Pirate Radio.
Bella will enjoy that for sure. All right, Bailey, thanks, man.
All right, bud, take care.
There he is, Double B, Brian Bailey, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. We've got points taken off the board in Oklahoma, Texas. There was a review. Spencer Rattler had ran in a touchdown, but they will now say it's 4th and goal, and Oklahoma has it with a decision to make. What do you do, Coach Rhodes? Do you kick the field goal at the 1 yard line, or do you go for it?
Well, they were saying that, that's inches. You go for it at that point.
It is inside the 1. So if Texas gets to stop here, they can kick a field goal and win. Oklahoma trying to score, and Rattler's going to throw for it. I tell you, we are in a different time in college football. We saw it in the LSU-Missouri game. Had the ball at the 1. LSU had 4 cracks, couldn't score. Oklahoma calls a pass play from inches away, but you're right, there was a Texas timeout.
What's the quarterback's name again?
Spencer Rattler.
Rattler, okay. He had kind of gone in backwards, and they initially called it a touchdown because he rolled into the end zone, but they said he was down before he crossed the line. So now it's 4th and goal. And then just as they snapped the ball, a timeout was called. So we're still inches away as far as Oklahoma is concerned.
And we need to take a timeout, too. So we will do that. And when we return, we will hear from Donnie Kirkpatrick. I went one-on-one with Donnie earlier this week. We'll hear what he has to say about trying to put some points on the board. The offense couldn't do that last week against Georgia State. Hoping they can tonight against South Florida. We'll also update you on all the action going on, including Texas, Oklahoma, back with more Bud Light pregame tailgate after this.
Great food, great atmosphere, and great service is Ottavola Market Cafe. Ottavola is simply a restaurant that focuses on that, being a great restaurant. There's something for everyone at Ottavola. The menu offers a variety of great choices like pastas, pizzas, sandwiches, soups, salads, and seasonal rotating selections. Lunch or dinner, Ottavola is always the right call. Call ahead and get Ottavola to go, or stop by the bar for a drink with friends. It's simple. Come and eat at Ottavola Market Cafe, Red Banks Road next to Food Lion, and OttavolaMarket.com. Ottavola, Pirates supporting Pirates.
Do you think you might have been exposed to COVID-19? Maybe you're planning to visit parents, family, or friends. Arc Point Labs of Greenville offers same-day COVID-19 results. No referral needed. Same-day results available. Arc Point Labs of Greenville offers easy solutions to COVID-19 testing. Arc Point Labs of Greenville is located across from Vidant Hospital on Executive Circle behind Southern Bank. Call for an appointment or walk in. Arc Point Labs of Greenville, 215-5688 or arcpointlabs.com.
2020 certainly hasn't been the year many of us were hoping for, but one thing has stayed the same. I'm Tim Sutton with Greenville Auto World, and our commitment to our customers has never wavered. Let Greenville Auto World show you how easy it is to buy a quality used car in Greenville. We believe in fair prices, superior service, and treating customers right leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Your vehicle is a big investment, and our customers trust us to keep them up and running with outstanding service and value. With Greenville Auto World, cross from Hardee's at Bell's Fork.
Let's turn a trip to the branch into a tap on your phone. Let's hit pause on a lost debit card without hitting pause on life. That's how First National Bank is redefining convenience with a top-rated mobile app that puts more security and control at your fingertips and friendly people to help you succeed right by your side. Let's get started at fnb-online.com or your local First National Bank. FNB member FDIC.
If you're recovering from an injury, getting back into sports, dealing with everyday pain or fatigue, then Kinetic Physical Therapy and Wellness can help you get back on track and live well. Kinetic's award-winning staff features a TPI golf specialist that offers assessments and rehab to help you get back on the course and playing your best.
This is Dr. Shondell Jones, and you deserve to live well. Call us at 364-2806 or visit kptonline.com. Go Pirates!
Hey Dad, what's for dinner?
How about CPW's?
Is that the restaurant with the really good lasagna?
It sure is.
Is that the place we got the awesome meat pizza?
Yep, that's the place. Should we do dine in or take out?
I'm tired of eating it. Let's go there!
Just say no to cooking tonight and bring the family, or make it a date night at CPW's. CPW's is open daily at 3 p.m. and has been serving the Greenville community since 1995. CPW's in the Food Line Shopping Center near the hospital.
This is Coach Steve Shankweiler, offensive line coach for East Carolina University football, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
Of eating it. Let's go there!
Just say no to cooking tonight and bring the family, or make it a
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. Hey, join us immediately after today's game between the Pirates and South Florida for the one and only U.S. Cellular fifth quarter call-in show. Coach Rick Smith will be in studio, and we'll be taking your calls on the fixed NC Live line at 317-1250. Plus, we'll read your Facebook Live comments and your tweets at PR927FM. When the fourth quarter ends, it's the U.S. Cellular fifth quarter call-in show right here on the voice of the Pirate Nation. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, back and forth they go in the Red River rivalry, not the Red River shootout anymore. Texas answers an Oklahoma score. They are reviewing it. Right now it is 45-44 PAT pending. As they're seeing if Sam Ehlinger stepped out of bounds before he walked into the end zone. He did not. That is a touchdown, and it is 45-44. Looks like the kicker's on the field, so they're going to try to extend this into a third overtime. What a wild one going on there. Georgia-Tennessee tied at 7 as they head to the second quarter. A lot of great action going on across the college football landscape. Taking a look at the UBE stat sheet. Looking at the ECU offense, Holton Ahlers on the year, 3 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, completing just 54% of his passes so far, 451 passing yards on the year for Holton Ahlers. Believe it or not, the leading rusher for the Pirates after 2 weeks is Keaton Mitchell. I don't think anybody had that after 2 games. 9 carries for 66 yards. Didn't see too much of them in the game last week. Chase Hayden has 62 yards on 16 carries. Raji Harris, Ahlers, and Penix all around 40 yards. Tyler Snead had the 31-yard touchdown run last week, and Mason Garcia came in late and added 10 rushing yards for the Pirates. And then receiving, your leading receivers, Snead and Prohl with 13 apiece. Snead with 113 yards, Pro with 102 yards. And the thing that really stands out, C.J. Johnson, 3 catches, 52 yards. Of course, most of that coming on a 37-yard touchdown against UCF. And he didn't do anything last week. Got to get C.J. going this week. And earlier this week, I was able to talk to the offensive coordinator of the Pirates, Donnie Kirkpatrick. And here's my one-on-one with Donnie.
All right, let's head out to the Fixed NC Live line and talk to the offensive coordinator of the Pirates, Donnie Kirkpatrick. He joins us, Coach. Thanks once again for your time. How you doing today?
I'm doing better today. If you'd asked me that a couple of days ago, might not have had the same answer, but I'm doing better today. So anyhow, here we go.
Well, Coach, when you look back at it on what happened in Atlanta against Georgia State, were there points left out there? If things go a little bit of a different way, do you have a better outcome last Saturday?
Unbelievable, and it's always kind of a game of mistakes, I guess. And how about this, or what happened? What about this? We really did. I thought, we had 3 drives into the red zone that we settled for field goals. The week before, we're 3 for 3 touchdowns, and that makes a huge difference right there. It just makes a difference, obviously in the score. That's the obvious deal a little bit, but it makes a big difference, I think, in just have the feeling and the momentum. And keeping the ball, at that point, you need to be keeping the ball away from your defense until they can get themselves adjusted a little bit, which was kind of the situation at the beginning of the game. And then in the ball game, we had 4 deep balls that we were 0 for 4 on that were opportunities. One, we catch it and we're slightly out of bounds there a little bit. We've got to get our feet in a little bit. We had another situation where we had a double move right after the turnover, and we had them in the perfect situation. We had the perfect matchup, and Hope gets hit just a little bit early. I thought just a tiny bit early. Still had a chance to make the throw and just misses him. Would have been a 70-yard touchdown. It would have been an unbelievable momentum switcher there to get us back in the game. Like I said, the defense had just knocked the turnover loose. And then we had another chance when we had a double post called from about the 35 going in, and the thing just came absolutely scot-free. And we blew a protection up in there, and he had to scramble, and he still almost made the throw on the run, but he just couldn't quite complete it, having to run like that. That, you know, you're looking at a lot of points there in a game that thing could have come down to the last possession, because, you know, we had some other ways that we found a way, you know, Snead and the O-line and the field goal team, you know, and all of them had a great fake there that we've been working on forever. And then, you know, we even had a block punt in there. So that's what we've been talking to the team about all week. Even when you're struggling sometimes, if you don't have your A game, hang in there, don't force it, don't turn it over. You know, if we could eliminate the pick six, which was really just a foolish mistake, it's a 1st and 10. You know, okay, the route ends up being covered. They jump it. They make a good defensive call, throw it away. We got 2 more downs, you know, to go for it. At that point, we might have been in 4 down. You know, the situation won't be behind like that. So a lot of opportunities. Got to find a way to get that across to the kids and get it executed better.
Coach, it was good to see Blake Prohl, Tyler Snead have a high volume of catches, but C.J. Johnson just 1 catch on Saturday, and I know you want to get him involved. I know he's got a target on his back this year after a strong freshman season, but what's going on with C.J. right now? Is it physical, mental, a little bit of everything with C.J. Johnson?
Well, I think you're dead on it. We were determined we were going to get Snead going after the week before. He felt so bad, you know, like he let everybody down. He did not. You know, it's just one of those things. We got him started early, and they had trouble stopping him. Blake had a good game, too. We couldn't get CJ going. One reason is they're just holding. You know what I'm saying? And he did draw 3 pass interferences, which were 45 yards worth of deal.
All right.
And I know that doesn't show in the statistics. It doesn't show, you know, on your resume. But it's 45 yards you've given the team. And really, there were 2 other times that it was just as bad. You know, people are using that strategy, that saying, well, they'll only call it so many times, and that seems to be somewhat true, because they could have called 2 more. But now, at the same time, there were some fundamental things in there that I think this week could have been improved on. We worked hard this week to do that. I got to do a better job of finding a way, though, to get some him throws, you know, that are plays that are just designed to not let the defense dictate who's going to get the ball. We're getting the ball to CJ. There's no way he's not going to be able to get the ball. And if it's under routes, if it's shorter routes, you know, whatever it is, we got to find some way to get him going that way, just to get the flow going. Because once you get the one good play, sometimes it just has a tendency to come your way a little bit more. You know, the first week there were some other situations there where he got into a little bit of a spat with the DB, and they've kind of, you know, maybe lost his concentration a little bit. So he's in a good place this week, though. I think he's relaxing a little bit and, you know, not trying to worry too much about it. And we've talked a lot to him, you know, the last couple of days about, you know, how you play is not always dictated by how many catches you get. There's lots of ways to help the team. You know, block without the ball, take the coverage with you. Sometimes when you are the marked man, you just got to get the other guys open. It used to happen to Justin Hardy. People would come in, they're going to take him out of the game. He wouldn't have a lot of catches early. Now, Zay Jones and, you know, the other guys that we had, you know, would find a way to hurt the team, so they'd have to start playing him straight up, and then in the fourth quarter he'd make a lot of catches. So that's what we're talking to CJ about. Let the game come to you. Believe me, we're going to get him the ball.
Donnie, when you're down, you know, a guy who's been a leader and played a lot of football here, Deontay Smith, when you're down Noah Henderson, are you still operating with a full playbook with these young offensive linemen out there who are having to play multiple positions and, you know, just aren't accustomed to being thrown into the spotlight like they are right now? Do you have to scrap any of the playbook when you're down those linemen? Is there less you can do out there, or are you still operating with a full offensive playbook?
Well, no, you've got to, and I think we may have to do it a little bit more, because one of the bigger disappointments about Saturday's game was that we had too many mental mistakes. And so we've spent a lot of time analyzing, you know, what's causing that. How can we coach better? How can we give the kids a chance to know what to do? Because then once they're unsure of themselves because they're making mistakes, then they're not very aggressive, and then that's even worse. You know, you'd rather them just play lights out, and if they did go the wrong way, at least go the wrong way fast and knock somebody out a little bit too. But, you know, that was a real blow that we had the camp. Dante missed a lot of the camp, so at least Nishad had played some left tackle and did that. But it wasn't very fair to him that he had to take his second start he's had 2 college starts, and now he's played 2 different positions. He's played 3 overall, but he started at 2 different ones.
Right.
And he had some issues because of that. It's different playing the left tackle. So, but that's part of the game. That can happen. Guys can get injured. It's going to happen, throughout the season. It's going to happen to everybody. And this year it's going to happen even more because of some other circumstances. So you just got to move on. But we are trying to simplify and try to find a way to make it easier for the guys to know what to do. So not only will they do what's right, which is better for the play, but also be more aggressive.
Finally, Coach, it sounds like South Florida's having some issues of their own on the offensive side, but their defense holds Cincinnati to 3 offensive touchdowns. Cincinnati also added a kick return for a touchdown last week, but defensive side of the ball looks pretty good for the Bulls. What have you seen from them?
Well, same thing, and they've got a lot of returning starters from last year, and they were a pretty good defensive football team last year, we thought, as well. So, yeah, this whole league has gotten really good on defense. There's just not very many of those teams that are not, and like say Cincinnati, obviously one of the better teams in the league, struggled to do a lot offensively as well. So our work's cut out for us, but I think we're up to the challenge, and I really think our kids have got that determined feel that we're going to get out of this. It was pretty low around here on the weekend. I think Coach Houston did a great job of getting everybody to, all right, let's quit pouting around here a little bit. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you anyhow. So it's just, that's life. It's growing up. It never happens as fast as you want to when you're trying to turn these things around. And, we just got to realize that and not worry about maybe the results as much as just the process, and just concentrate on how to get better every day, each play, every game. And those wins will start to come. And as we get some wins, the confidence will come, and this thing will steamroll again. So not happening nearly as fast as we want it to, but we still believe it will.
Coach Donnie Kirkpatrick joining us on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you, man. See you.
There's Donnie Kirkpatrick, ECU offensive coordinator, as the Pirates try to dial up some points tonight in Tampa against South Florida. A lot of points in Texas, Oklahoma. And will there be 3 more here? There will not, as Oklahoma.
That is insane.
Shanks the field goal.
Wait. How far was that? What was the field goal attempt? What was the yardage on that?
They were on like the 10 or 15. I mean, it was like
so it was like a 30-yard field goal?
Yeah.
Well, see, Texas.
I got to hear what Gus Johnson. I hate that I'm missing his call of this. How does he still have a voice calling this game today? 45-45, Shirley. So we just saw a shank, but what happened before the shank with Texas?
Oklahoma blocked the punt.
Oh, the field goal.
I'm sorry, the
no
field goal.
punts in overtime.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Oklahoma had blocked the field goal attempt. So all they had to do was get in field goal range, and he shanked it. I mean, this wasn't like just barely missed it. No, this was
no chance.
Try like 7 feet left of nothing.
Wow. All right.
This is insane.
Do not trust your kickers. Score touchdowns, Texas and Oklahoma.
So this is the 3rd overtime, right?
This will be going into number 4. That was the 3rd. Overtime. Okay. So we're heading into number 4.
Jeez.
Which one is it where you have to go for 2 after a touchdown? Either 3rd or 4th. I can't remember. So if you
it's
got to
be. It's got to be if this is going into the 4th. It's going to have to be go for 2.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go for 2 when they scored the first time around.
I know. So they stay tied. So we got more football to watch, and we'll do that. We got more football to talk about, too. With Blake Harrell, ECU defensive coordinator, we will hear from him when we return. I went one-on-one with him earlier in the week. Also, Shirley Rhodes Football Masterclass Theater will get to know South Florida a little bit better. That and more on the way in hour number 2 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Back with you after this.
Welcome to Jack Brown's. What can I get for you?
You guys got chicken strips?
Nah, we don't have those.
Can I get a salad?
No, we don't carry salads, ma'am.
Well, what do you have?
We are glad you asked. This ain't no regular degular. This is American Wagyu beef.
These ain't your Uncle Timmy's charcoal bricks.
Kiss the cook, kiss my grits. Our burgers are 4 ounces of hand-pressed, made-to-order, perfectly seasoned ecstasy in a potato roll.
4 ounces not big enough for you, big man? Double patty time!
Or just grab a cheeseburger.
Jack Brown's, 805 Dickinson Avenue, Greenville.
Hi, I'm Annalie Newhoff.
And I'm Rob Campbell.
And we are with CopyPro. We have been locally owned and operated here in Eastern North Carolina for almost 50 years. CopyPro is the leader in office technology.
Does your business struggle with keeping printing costs low or producing professional documents? Here at CopyPro, total customer satisfaction is our #1 priority.
We have a variety of solutions to help reduce your printing expenses and make your business more productive. Call us today at 1-800-682-6558 or online at copypro.net.
CopyPro, we are the professional office systems people.
Temperatures are in the low 30s at 10 a.m., increasing sharply to 75 degrees by 1 p.m., and then dropping into the teens by 10 p.m. So before you go to work, put on some gloves, pack some shorts, and a parka. That should cover you for the day.
Your heating and cooling is taking a beating. Guarantee your family's comfort all fall and winter with a new train system. It's hard to stop a train. For a limited time, get a new train system with 0% financing for 60 months. Go to DelcorInc.com for more information. Delcor, the service professionals. See your independent train dealer for details. Call 1-888-534-6898 for details.
Hey guys, are you tired of tagging along with your wife or your girlfriend when you need a pedicure or manicure? Do you feel intimidated being the only guy in a female nail salon? If so, then I have the solution for you. The Man Cave is now open. I'm Amanda and I've opened the Man Cave to give men a spot just for them and for their grooming needs. Come relax in our comfortable masculine atmosphere and enjoy some free drinks and snacks during your nail service. The Man Cave, next to Lighting by Design on Fire Tower Road in Greenville.
Hi, this is Billy Parker, and football is here. Tailgate at home with family and friends this season and let Parker's Barbecue do all the cooking. While tailgating at your house, let us provide all the food with our delicious chicken, barbecue, seafood, and sides. We can customize packages for any size group, big or small. Give us a call today and place your order. Parker's and football, a winning combination. Also shipping nationwide at parkersbbq.com. Parker's Barbecue is how friends and family come together.
This is Coach Donnie Kirkpatrick, Offense Coordinator for ECU Football, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. Listen to Pirate Radio Live every weekday afternoon from 3 until 6 p.m. on 92.7 FM in Greenville and 104.1 FM in Washington, or watch on YouTube or Facebook Live. PRL is hosted by Clip Brock and yours truly, and features the latest breaking news, top-notch guests, and all your favorite Pirate Radio personalities like Troy D. and Ellerby, The Voice, Jeff Charles, Brian Bailey, Stephen Igo, Billy Weaver, Brian North, Tony Collins, Bryce Williams, Coach Rick Smith, Ronnie Woodward, Morgan Ehlers, Mike Mullis, and more. Join us on Monday starting at 3 o'clock for Pirate Radio Live right here on the Voice of the Pirate Nation. Now let's head back in to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
Alrighty, thank you, Shirley Rhodes, the big dog Glenn Griffin producing, also eating. Finally got him a plate. Got a little Texas Pete all over that plate with the barbecue, the chicken, hush puppies. Didn't notice many sides, many veggies there on Glenn's plate. Eat your vegetables, Glenn. The thumbs down on that one. All right, this game is freaky. Oklahoma, touchdown, 2-point convo. They lead 53-45. Texas with the ball, and here comes Texas inside the 20, and they're going to have it second down and about a yard as they try to score, and then they'll have to go for two and try to tie this up. They're in their fourth overtime right now in the Red River rivalry, and Texas moving fast. We'll just keep it here for a moment. Got Blake Harrell coming up in just a second as we'll hear his thoughts on what happened last week with the Pirates defense and what they plan to do tonight against South Florida. Texas will now have it first and goal at about the 9-yard line. Just to recap, and we weren't watching this because I thought it was over. Oklahoma had a pretty late 14-point lead. Texas able to score, send it into overtime, And then they traded a couple of touchdowns. In the third overtime, Oklahoma blocked a Texas field goal, and then Oklahoma shanked a field goal of their own. Well, now in the fourth overtime, Oklahoma has scored, got the 2-point conversion, and Texas now trying to get it into the end zone. All right, looking at the UB stat sheet, and it's been a rough go at it for ECU defensively right now, as the Pirates struggling to really stop anybody right now in the run game and the passing game. And you saw it last week. I think the biggest deal was after the pick six, ECU gives up 21 first quarter points. They give up 14 second quarter points, and you give up 35. You're down, 35-10 at halftime. That is just tough to catch up with. And right now the Pirates are -4 in turnover ratio. They were able to get a few turnovers last week, but Ehlers had 3 interceptions in that game. You got to play clean football tonight against South Florida. And if you're Blake Harrell's defense, you got to force some turnovers. You got to try to get your first sack of 2020. Hopefully that'll happen on one of the many South Florida quarterbacks we'll see tonight. Shirley, let's go to the Blake Harrell one-on-one, as I had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week. All right, on the Fixed NC Live line is the defensive coordinator of the Pirates, Blake Harrell. Coach, thanks once again for your time. How you doing today?
Good. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Thanks you for joining us. And Coach, let's want to ask you about the game on Saturday. 35 points in the first half for Georgia State, just one offensive touchdown in the second half for the Panthers. So what went right there in the second half that didn't go right in the first half? What adjustments were made?
Well, I think just settled our kids down at halftime and talked to them about the important things. They're playing to win, and just kind of, hey, we're still in this thing. We can get right back in it, and just kind of settle them down and forget about the first half. It's a whole new half, a whole new play, and getting out there and stopping the run and taking the big plays away from them, and then making some plays on third down and get off field. So that was the biggest difference between the second half and the first half. The first half we gave up some big plays and didn't play well on third down, and that led to 35 points.
Coach, you're running in a lot of defensive linemen through 2 games. When you look back on film, have any of them stood out to you? Is anybody kind of stepping up and becoming one of the go-to guys at the D-line position?
We have guys that they all do something really well, and you see each of them get better and better every week. Unfortunately, there's not just the alpha dog in that bunch. They all really, can be really good players. D'Angelo McKinney's an older kid who his experience and being an older guy is certainly helping out. Chris Willis, it was good to get him back on the field for at least a little bit last week. And I think his best football is in front of him as far as what we haven't seen. And then the young guys, they keep coming along as well and getting better. And I think you can get more quality reps out of those guys too. So excited about where it's going. And I think we just got to keep bringing them along and see where it goes.
Looking forward to seeing more of Chris Willis. And Coach, of course, he was ejected in that game against Georgia State. And with all the things that you have to talk about with to your players at practice, do you bring up the kind of the fundamentals? Hey, if you get a shot at the quarterback, make sure you don't lead with the helmet. If a receiver's coming over the middle, you tell your safety not to do that. Do you mention that at practice, or is it just such an instinct thing? You just let your guys go and play?
No, it's all the time. You got to talk about not only the safety issues of protecting yourself and making sure you don't lead with the head, keep your head out of it. You're a shoulder tackle football team, leverage tackle football team, all those type of things. Fundamentally, we talk about. And then on the ball carrier, you can't hit the quarterback too low. You can't hit him too high. So we call it the strike zone. Just anywhere in the strike zone, that's where you want to make contact and doing a good job with that. So whether it's a receiver, a quarterback, ball carrier, we always, focusing on our fundamentals there with proper leverage, proper shoulder tackle for the safety of it, and also an issue like Saturday doesn't come up as far as an injection leading to a penalty there.
Coach Harrell, what are the keys to stopping USF? I guess the unique challenge for you this Saturday. They run a lot of different quarterbacks in and out, so that's something you don't see every week.
They do. They play a lot of guys, all very talented. They have some very fast running backs, very talented, that can get up and down the field, catch balls out of the backfield as well, and some receivers that can stretch you vertical. So they certainly present a lot of challenges, and all that being said, we've been, focusing on a lot of, it's about us and what we do and how we play, and playing fast and playing physical and playing our brand of football that we want to play. And, we got to prepare for the opponent, but we got to at the same time take care of us.
Blake Harrell joining us here on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Coach, thanks for your time. Good luck Saturday, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Blake Harrell, ECU defensive coordinator there, going over a few things on last week and tonight, getting set to take on South Florida, a struggling offense. Maybe that's what the Pirates need to get going defensively here in 2020. All right, we have gone final. The Red River rivalry, whatever you want to call it, game. A pick in the end zone, and Oklahoma has won the game. Sam Ehlinger overthrows his target. Oklahoma gets the interception, and that's all she wrote. A wild one, Shirley Rhodes, in that one.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, for a second there, I wasn't sure because it looked like there was a receiver that was running underneath, and then there was another that was running in the end zone. And so for a second there, I thought Oklahoma was going to get called for a pass interference.
Yeah, it looked like that. Guys kind of looked around like,
there was a lot of looking around because I was waiting to see if they would throw a flag, but there was no flag thrown. And
no flags on the field.
So Lincoln avoids that 3 straight loss.
Yes.
Or 3rd straight loss, I should say.
And Texas has 2 losses this year. Oklahoma has 2 losses. LSU has 2 losses. A wild 2020 right now, as they're passing around some weird gold cowboy hat that I've never seen before. So that's interesting. All right, Shirley, we need to know more about South Florida. How should we do that?
Well, I think it's time to have a masterclass theater.
All right, well, let's do that then.
And welcome into another edition of your Football Masterclass Theater. Today, we learn about the South Florida Bulls. South Florida's football program is relatively young. Jim Leavitt, who was previously the co-defensive coordinator at Kansas State, was hired as the team's first head coach in 1997. Their first team meeting was actually held under a tree, as the school had no proper football facilities on campus. In 2001, after competing for 4 years as a Division I FCS independent, the Bulls moved to Division I FBS, where they remained independent until 2003 when they joined Conference USA. They left the conference in 2005 and became a member of the Big East Conference, which is now the American Athletic Conference. The team's first bowl appearance was in 2005 at the Meineke Car Care Bowl when they lost to NC State. They won their first bowl game a year later in the inaugural PapaJohns.com Bowl with a victory over former Conference USA rival East Carolina. Jim Leavitt led the Bulls to 5 straight bowl games from 2005 to 2009, earning a 3-2 record. The 2007 football season marked the first ascent into both the AP poll and BCS standings for South Florida. They reached number 23 after defeating Auburn in overtime, number 18 after defeating North Carolina, number 6 after defeating West Virginia, and number 5 after defeating FAU, and the team finally peaked at number 2 after defeating UCF 64-12. The Bulls' high ranking was short-lived, however, as South Florida lost its next 3 games and tumbled out of the rankings. After a 9-3 season, the Bulls earned a bid to their 3rd straight bowl game, the Brute Sun Bowl against Oregon. The Bulls entered the game as favorites, but surrendered 56 points, which is a Sun Bowl record, in a blowout loss. Leavitt was fired in 2010 after an investigation revealed that during halftime of a game against Louisville, he grabbed a player by the shoulder pads and struck him twice across the face. The investigation also claimed that Leavitt interfered with the investigation by telling several coaches and players to change their stories. Leavitt maintains he never struck the player, but was merely trying to console him, and after a wrongful termination suit against the school eventually settled with Leavitt for $2.75 million. In 2010, Skip Holtz was hired to take over after leaving East Carolina. During his first season, he led the Bulls to the program's first victory over the Miami Hurricanes. Following the regular season, he led the Bulls to a 31-26 victory over the Clemson Tigers in the Meineke Car Care Bowl, and South Florida finished with an overall record of 8-5, the 5th consecutive season of at least 8 wins. Holtz was fired in 2012, and Willie Taggart replaced him the following season. Despite having the top-rated recruiting class in the American Conference heading into 2013, the Bulls struggled in Taggart's first year, posting a 2-10 record, which was the worst record in school history. Taggart was fired in 2016, and Charlie Strong became the fourth head coach in school history. He only lasted 2 years before he was let go and replaced by Jeff Scott, who is the current coach. Notable alumni playing professional football include Aaron Lynch, Marlon Mack, and Jason Pierre-Paul in the NFL, and Quentin Flowers had a short stint in the XFL. The Bulls play in Raymond James Stadium and have enjoyed a winning edge, building an 89-44 record since 1998, including one streak of 21 straight victories. The Bulls are 19-2 in home openers played at Raymond James, and with their only losses coming in 2013 at the hands of McNeese State and 2019 to Wisconsin. And that's today's lesson in your football masterclass theater.
All right, everybody, put your pen and paper down. That is all for your notes on South Florida. And, man, I knew some of that stuff, but you said, Shirley, the first bowl win for South Florida was against ECU?
Yes.
Yeah, and we remember that one. Skip's second year here, when they got to a bowl and unfortunately did not win that bowl game against the Bulls on that day. And what a I guess a connection to ECU South Florida has. First of all, that bowl game, and then their conference mates, and then Skip Holtz. Well, I guess before their conference mates, Skip Holtz leaves ECU because South Florida was a BCS school.
That's right.
Technically, since they were in the Big East. And then, of course, it didn't work out for Skip there. And here we are, back together again in the American. And Pirates trying to get off the schneid in this series. It has not gone ECU's way. Jeff Charles talked about it earlier. Just one win in the series. Kind of crazy to think about. I mean, South Florida's had some good teams, but ECU, you would think, would have a much better record against the Bulls than a 1-9 mark so far in this history. All right, we got some things to do next hour. We got to talk to Ronnie Woodward and Stephen Igo. Also, we got an awesome giveaway for you. How about a case of Bud Light and a $25 gift card to Parker's Barbecue? Complete rookie move by Igo and Ronnie. They've been in the lobby and have not gone to the kitchen yet to enjoy any of the amazing Parker's Barbecue that's in the back. We got Q, fried chicken, grilled chicken, ribs, all the fixins, all the sides, cornbread sticks, hush puppies, sweet tea, anything you want.
I gotta be honest, we've kind of put a beat down on the ribs.
Oh, there's way more.
Oh, there's more.
There's more.
I saw the bone pile that's being created in the back.
There's a boneyard in the back. Oh, there's more.
Okay,
oh, wait.
all right.
There's more. So we're good to go on everything right now when it comes to Parker's. 3 locations here in Greenville, and they can have a party for you and your family. If you call ahead, they do catering. I like to go and do the family style. Parker's Barbecue. Man, they hooked it up here on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, and we'll hook you up coming up next hour with a case of Bud Light and a $25 gift card to Parker's Barbecue. Let's take a time out, come back. Hour 3 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate is on the way after this.
Many, you may have put on the Corona 5, 10, or even 15 over the last 2 months. Well, the weather is warm and it's time to get that body back on track. At Clean Eats, we have you covered. Our weekly meal plan will quickly help you get back to where you want to be. Order online at cleaneats.com. Our cafe is back open, sanitized, and waiting to serve you healthy lunch and dinner options for dine-in, takeout, curbside, or even delivered through our delivery partners. Clean Eats, it's a lifestyle. 805 Red Banks Road, Arlington Village.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is proud ECU graduate and former baseball player Brandon Manning inviting you to join my team at Farm Bureau Insurance. Right now, during hurricane season, is a good time to review your coverage with a local trusted agent like me. I will make myself available before or after business hours, and my clients always have my cell phone number if they need anything. From home, auto, or life, give me a call today and let's talk about your insurance coverage and about the Pirates. Call 531-1812 and go Pirates!
The Frells family lives on a lush piece of land called greener pasture, and they work on it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. With its durable construction and features that hook up to dozens of attachments with ease, no job is too tough. The Frells family runs with us, because this is more than just land, it's home. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Get quality at every turn with Quality Equipment, your local John Deere dealer, with 27 locations in North Carolina and southeastern Virginia. Find out more at QualityEquip.com.
Domino's week-long carry-out deal means you can carry out 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each every day. That's right, $7.99 each, and every day means any day. But just in case there's any confusion, we've set up a helpful website to confirm if today's a day you can carry out 3-topping pizzas for $7.99 each at Domino's. Just go to howaboutoday.com to find out if Domino's week-long carry-out deal is valid today. Spoiler alert, it is. Carry out only. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, and charges may vary. Excludes extra large and specialty pizzas. Crust availability varies by size.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show. Now, with the Pirate Radio scoreboard, here's Shirley Rhodes.
All right, in the second quarter, Tennessee and Georgia are tied at 14 apiece. Texas Tech is trailing Iowa State 21-7. BYU has now jumped out to a 14-3 lead over Texas San Antonio, and Kansas State is trailing TCU 7-6. Middle Tennessee and FIU are tied at 7. Pittsburgh leads Boston College 13-10 in the second, and Auburn has a 10-0 lead over Arkansas in the second quarter. And Central Arkansas leads Arkansas State 9-6. Troy has a 23-3 lead over Texas State in the second quarter. And that is a look at your scoreboard. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Barat.
All right, hour 3 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. A big hour it shall be. So big that Chandler Honeycutt has arrived, and he's eating some Parker's Barbecue, a corn stick to be exact. Ronnie Woodward, hey, you guys are just sitting out there.
I know.
I almost said something like, hey, guys, you might want to head to the kitchen. But
I did.
You were able to get a little barbecue in.
I did.
Little BBQ action.
Yeah, corn sticks are the best.
Ronnie's sitting high above the rest of us after...
I don't know how to adjust this chair.
Pull the lever.
You are
There we go.
Jacked up. Rondo,
he's really excited about this game.
he's fired up. I should be the one sitting the highest. You know why, guys?
There we go.
Because I'm the 2020 AAC Survivor Champion.
You are.
Congrats.
Survivor.
Houston.
Thank you.
I mean, it's basically a year that doesn't count anyway, so.
Nothing matters to you, Igo.
Results don't matter. It's just all about getting better with the process.
How are we doing progressing-wise with ECU right now?
Last week was a step in the wrong direction.
That it was, and hopefully we can take some steps in the correct, right direction tonight against South Florida. We'll get you guys' thoughts on the game. I talked to Ronnie on Monday. I talked to Igo Tuesday, Thursday. Talked to you on Friday this week. So, Ronnie, how about you? Feelings can change as the week moves on.
Yeah.
You feel better or worse about ECU's chances since the last time we talked to you?
I don't know if it's easy to classify either one of those, I guess, but
the same.
the more I will say, the more I've looked at South Florida, its roster, and and I guess I do this every week. By like Monday, I'm like, all right, I kind of know the deal with this team, and then as it goes on, I'm like, oh yeah, like this guy. I think their skill guys on offense is what impresses me. Like the St. Felix, their best receiver, he had a good game against ECU last year. He's back, and the two running backs are small. Igo knows a lot about Johnny Ford, obviously. The other guy, Kelly Joyner, is that right? Kelly somebody. Are both like in the 5'5" to 5'8" range, 100 and whatever pounds. But those are the guys I'm curious about. It kind of relates to what I asked Donnie K. South Florida's longest play of the year is a 43-yard run. ECU's longest play of the year is the meaningless C.J. Johnson 37-yard. Their longest run is the Tyler Snead kick return or not fake field goal. So, which team hits that whatever, 50, 60, 70-yard play, like a big play by either offense could be huge. Whether it's I think those running backs for USF are the ones to watch there. Then I think the receivers for ECU, if it's C.J. Johnson gets a big play, or Snead, maybe a Blake Prohl, but which team can hit that big play? Because they've both been lacking that to this point. I think South Florida's running backs are the ones that can get loose that I think ECU needs to keep tabs on.
I'm feeling a little more concerned about this matchup because I already think South Florida's got a pretty good defense, but when you look at their offensive woes, you got to factor in that they've played Notre Dame and Cincinnati, who I know Cincinnati's got a good defense. I'm assuming Notre Dame does as well. So you got to factor in the competition. Now that they still don't know what they have at quarterback. We saw the McLeod kid last year come to Dowdy Ficklin, and
he was solid
and beat the Pirates.
He didn't have to do much. They just handed it off. They ran a lot of Wildcat that game.
Cronkite was a beast.
I mean, ECU couldn't get off the field.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
He's not there anymore. He was a big guy, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Now they have these little speed backs, which I feel like is not
their
typical
coach
of South Florida.
They moved the DB at running back for blocking purposes because they're so small in pass protection. Like their coach talked about it this past week. He was like, we had to get somebody bigger in there to help with pass pro. So I'm interested in the chess match. The risk you have if you blitz, they're probably going to try to leak those running backs out.
Yep.
And then that's a bad matchup. So, there's pros and cons to it. If I'm ECU, I honestly don't blitz that much this game. I know Blake Harrell likes to be aggressive, but, if you get caught in the wrong play, that allows them to hit a big play that much easier. And they're an offense that right now has not been able to string together plays to put together a legitimate drive. So I would be wary, maybe blitz some early to start the chess match, and then after that, back off some. I would make them prove they can move the ball down the field because of the quarterback woes, because of the guys. They're talented at the skill positions for sure, but they don't have as much talent as they usually do. But Johnny Ford, he's a big play threat. They got to be careful there, and just really intrigued to see how they approach things. Their coaches said all week we might see multiple quarterbacks again. So I think ECU will see at least 2, if not 3 quarterbacks tonight.
All right, I put out the question last night. Who would you add to this roster that has previously played for East Carolina? I want to get both of your answers. I said Linville Joseph. Ronnie, who do you have coming into the game for the Pirates tonight in Tampa?
That's tough. My first thought is Dwayne Harris.
He's my favorite Pirate, but does he change it? Maybe he changes it with a punt return.
I think the special teams factor, the Wildcat factor,
that's true.
Skip Holtz, 30 slot receiver screens.
Well, with a struggling O-line, how many screen passes would Dwayne get, and how many would he block for CJ? Because he was an elite blocker.
They need somebody to block on those screens.
Yeah.
Because, with Chris Johnson, unless you just ran the sweep and hoped he got to the outside.
No, you run 30 screen passes, and at least 2 or 3 of them will hit, right?
Yeah.
For big plays. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dwayne?
I'll go Harris.
All right.
The special teams is the wild card, maybe.
Steven?
I'm going maybe Willie Smith senior year because they need a dang offensive tackle to protect. Otherwise, it's not going to matter. So I'm going offensive lineman.
Brian Remph.
Yeah, Brian.
I saw his name today.
Good, man. He played with the Ravens a while. So either one of those guys, any NFL offensive lineman from ECU, I'm taking and I'm starting them immediately.
How much does? And really, it's a fantasy deal, but does one offensive lineman help? Does just one playmaker help? Does a one defensive tackle, like I said, you got to factor in what's going to help the most with just one guy.
Yeah,
and I don't know,
probably from that standpoint, like a Dwayne Harris makes more sense because he's a star player. He's going to get the ball, but if you had even Deontay Smith, if you knew for 100% he was going to be out there, I think that just helps the whole offensive line because you don't have to shift as many guys around. Strother, who's more of a guard, would play guard and not have to play left tackle. And I think that is what hurt ECU last week is they were missing 2 key guys, and so they had to shuffle guys around that really weren't used to playing those positions too much, and then you had some communication problems. So one piece missing on the offensive line can cause a ripple effect that forces a lot of issues. But if you're going just for star power, it's hard to turn down a Dwayne Harris or Justin Hardy or any of those guys.
Do we have a 17 on the roster right now?
Saba.
Yeah, Warren Saba.
Ah,
yeah.
The new playmaker.
Yeah, I don't know about offense.
And special teams.
I think Tajee Hudson was 17, but he moved to
Isn't he 8?
82.
Oh, okay.
Casey Ross.
Casey Ross was a great
Old
DB.
school.
I mean,
I think he was 17.
See, I was thinking, like one of those defensive players.
Van?
Awesome. Yeah.
Van
like Fred
or-
Wilson or like one of those.
Emmanuel Davis, great cornerback.
Oh, man. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Get Travis Williams and have a corner and the last guy that returned a punt for a touchdown. They didn't see you. All right.
Will it ever happen again?
Sometimes it's fun to be in fantasy land and ignore reality.
I mean, I honestly would prefer more fantasy talk than reality talk right now.
I don't think you were here, Igo, when Redbeard said it, but I think it was during the fifth quarter, one of these weeks, where he said, "Can y'all watch old games and we'll just call in and do the fifth quarter for those old Pirate victories, like the mid '90s Liberty Bowl." All right, give us a call. Your thoughts on ECU's win over Stanford 35 years ago or whatever.
You know what would be fun? This is like the stupid wild card Ronnie answer. How about LaShawn Merritt?
Weird. That is classic Ronnie.
Put him on the outside and go.
So you just want to put a track
Just
guy?
go. Yeah. Like,
have him as kick returner, obviously.
there you go. Just go.
Definitely punt return.
You don't have to block a whole lot.
And even if he
Just have
can't
to buy,
catch-
like 3 seconds, just throw it and let him run.
You have Snead catch the ball and either do an end around or a lateral.
Yeah.
Only Ronnie would think of
That'd be
that.
fun.
That was
LaShawn Merritt.
super random.
I like it though. I like the creativity.
People always wanted it when he was in college.
Maybe I should take Demaine Duckett so he could also help out Joe Dooley because he played some hoops
There
too,
you go.
right? Was he the basketball player?
He was.
Yeah. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll get back to reality and come back and talk more ECU South Florida with Ronnie Woodward and Stephen Igo here inside the Pirate Radio studios. Also, coming up at the end of the next segment, we will give away a case of Bud Light and a $25 gift card to Parker's Barbecue. So make sure you're tuned in for that as well. More to go on the Bud Light pregame tailgate after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light. Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Here with Mike Mullis from Fixed NC. And Mike, you were telling me the other day, people ask you all the time, I didn't know you did that. What does that mean?
You know, anything that involves property damage repair, call us first. If it's your crawl space, you've got interior humidity issues, a water loss, your ice maker line breaks, obviously fire and smoke, everybody knows we do those, but anything that involves interior or exterior property damage, we're your repair experts.
Mike, how could everybody get in touch with you?
252-999-0001 or fixednc.com.
Hey Pirate Nation, this is former ECU tight end Bryce Williams from my friends at the Auto Store Group. If you're in the market for a quality used vehicle, then the Auto Store Group is for you. The Auto Store Group has 3 locations and over 150 quality used vehicles to choose from for all budgets. Shop their entire inventory today at theautostoregroup.com. The Auto Store Group, your hometown store and Pirate owned and operated for over 38 years. Go Pirates!
Banking is banking until service is not the same. This is Eric Clark from Select Bank and Trust, and this year has been unusual, but we have continued to focus on what has always been important to us, our customers. When businesses needed access to the Paycheck Protection Program, our team of local bankers worked around the clock to successfully keep our customers open and their employees working. Wouldn't you like to deal with a bank that is responsive to your needs, can make local decisions, and cares about you, the customer? We are Select Bank and Trust. Bank local, bank select.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Pirate Radio.
You know, I think this is a pretty blue-collar, tough, hard-nosed fan base, and that's the way our teams are going to be.
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. For the latest breaking news, interesting stories, and awesome contests that can make you a winner, be sure to follow Pirate Radio on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PR927FM. Join the close to 50,000 followers today at PR927FM. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Rock.
All right, welcome back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, hour number 3. We are rolling right along. Coming up later on in this hour, we will talk to David Glenn. He'll give his thoughts on ECU South Florida and also look around the ACC action. And big one tonight, the U versus Clemson. And old curveball, Ronnie Woodward. Ronnie always talks about the fastball, yet he is a human curveball.
Yeah.
Says that
I'm on the Miami wagon, man.
I just
want it to be.
No, you live in the past. You got this infatuation with Rondo, like he's still a thing.
Yep.
And you're still living in the early 2000s.
You're right. 100%.
Glory days.
Yeah. I spent, quick side note, when Rondo was like benched for the whole second half last night, because he struggled. It was a bad Rondo game. I was on my phone on YouTube looking up like
old Rondo
2009 playoffs. I was like, God, this guy's so good. And I'm like, why is Kentavious Caldwell Pope in this stupid game? And I'm like, oh, yeah, because that was Rondo age 24, not 34.
Too much Alex Caruso for me to get into it.
Yeah.
Heat
just
win.
the role players. Rondo included. The role players struggled, obviously.
All right.
It was fun.
Point being, though,
Danny Green played great.
Man.
You want the U more than you think the U is going to hang with Clemson.
No, he thinks the U is going to hang with
because he wants it so bad.
Well, like, I saw part of game day today, too, though. Like, the Roche kid, or Proche on their defensive line.
That came from
Temple.
Yeah.
But they had to transfer the other guys from, like, UCLA and the nose guard. And I'm like, they're not even, like, they flipped the roster. And then you add Derek King out. You know, it's not like they microwaved it. Well, I don't think this is the Miami of 3 or 4 years ago. Like, they've added the Americans' best defensive player and best offensive player and got some dude from UCLA and all these transfers on top of the natural kind of talent they have. Like, I think they have the talent to do it.
The big thing is they just finally have a legit quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that dude's the truth. Like, and we'll see. Like, if he struggles tonight, then the people will say, like, oh, he can only do it in the group of 5, whatever. He can't do it against the big boys, then they won, But
I keep hearing Clemson hasn't faced this level of athletic talent until they get to the playoff, like with an SEC team or Ohio State. But I don't know. I don't think Clemson has any issue at all tonight.
Yeah, I'd be surprised I could see Miami keeping it close for a half and making it interesting because when you see Derek King, he's such a unique quarterback. It takes a while to get used to his style of play.
Yeah.
Like when he was with Houston and they played some bigger schools, those teams would let up some points in the first half and then kind of figure out what he's all about in the second half. But we'll see. I mean, that's why they play the game. I do think Clemson makes a statement tonight, but we'll see. And
Georgia tried to get it in from the 1. I mean, not to be ticky-tack here, but the guy literally had his hand inside the back of the Georgia player's shirt, which is a horse collar. But can you call a horse collar in this situation? I mean, look at this. The guy is pulling him back by the shirt.
It's effective.
I mean, I guess you can't call it in that situation.
Maybe you can't call the horse collar in the pile. It's got to be a standing-only situation.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
But that dude clearly is yanking at the guy's shirt there. The hardest thing to do is get 1 yard in college football. It's a lot easier to throw the ball for 40 yards than it is to run 1 yard. 4 chances for LSU today. Couldn't get it in. We saw some...
Drinkowitz, right? For Missouri?
Mm-hmm. His first win.
Eli.
Yeah.
Eli, yeah, that's right.
Eli spelled E.
People thought they might not win a game at all because they're only playing SEC teams.
Vanderbilt
that's big.
Certainly looking that way.
Yeah.
I don't know how Derek Mason is going to survive.
I can't believe he's still there.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Vanderbilt's just it's a tough nut. And to quote Jeff Charles,
tough nut.
I mean, I don't know how you can expect to win if you're Vanderbilt in an all SEC schedule. So
Well, how about this, guys? So what? 4th and goal, 1 second left in the first half.
Wow.
21-17 Tennessee. Ball is inside the 1.
Number 99 cannot be a normal offensive player, but he's in there.
Georgia's going for it. They have the big fullback, and we got a timeout Tennessee.
They got 88 and 99 in.
So, this is SEC football, boys.
We're Georgia statement. Like, if you can't get this against Tennessee, then you can't win this game.
Yeah.
Go prove that you're Georgia and you're number 3.
And you're right. I mean, they got hosses up front, but they've also added, like, defensive tackles.
I mean, ECU does not have one guy that looks like that, and Georgia has about 10 standing in this huddle. That are all about to go on the field together.
The reality of the situation. Did you hear when Jeff Charles was on earlier ago? Talked a lot about Johnny Ford and how Coach Mo told him that we're getting this kid. And he said that they worked their tails off to get him. And I remember his name probably because you bringing it up during his recruitment. But he is now a player you're going to have to watch out for if you're a Pirate tonight, because he'll be wearing that green for South Florida.
Johnny Ford and Terrence Horn, both from Miami, Florida, both in the same recruiting class. Both looked like they were ECU bound. Then Charlie Strong's staff, they actually missed on a couple guys, and they basically came in last minute, offered them a scholarship. And, if you're from Miami, do you want to go to ECU or South Florida? And
they stop them short.
All them horses. They didn't run behind 99, man. That's the problem.
I feel like their running back could have done a little more.
Yeah, he had a
kind of gave up on it, didn't he?
I still like the call.
I mean, I do too, but jump, leap.
He just
you got to get there. That's the kid from Scotland County, I'm pretty sure.
White?
Yeah.
Was his last name?
Like Zakir. Yeah.
Samir White.
Yeah. Where he got hurt.
You got to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, messed up his knee, and I think so. He's like just now becoming.
He was a 5-star.
Yeah.
What
he's
a
like the
stop
best running back
by Rocky Top. I'm sorry, Igo.
I mean, I was pretty much done, but yeah, Johnny Ford. It's a shame they couldn't get him. But I, from what I've heard, I don't know about this year, but I know last year he had some major locker room issues, and so I don't, looking back at it, I don't think he would have fit very well with the Mike Houston way. But you know what? He has city speed, and ECU does not have a lot of city speed, especially when Coach Mo was here. And so they specifically targeted those two guys from Miami as guys we need as gadget players or kind of slot run or scat backs, and they missed on them, and they didn't really bring anybody in that class.
Really cool picture posted by ECU Pirates football with, I guess that's the coach standing there for ECU. You see the back of them, but you see the awesome pirate ship. You've been to Ray J a time or two?
Yeah. Awesome spot.
How do you guys feel about not traveling? I mean, you usually travel a lot. Ronnie, you do the same.
Yeah.
How do you feel about being here when the team's away?
Less stressful for sure.
Yeah. I didn't mind it the last game.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty convenient to just hop on the Zoom afterwards and not have to, catch the elevator down to the field, walk through the bowels of Raymond James Stadium to get to the ECU locker room and make sure we're there in time. But no, I mean, I would rather be there. As much hassle it goes into it, it's just better when, really when we're on the road, it's like me, Ronnie, and Al Myatt, and that's it. It's like us three, and like we get one-on-one access.
The crew, and y'all hang out all the time away from the game.
Yeah, we take Uber rides with Al.
We've tried.
There have been multiple occasions we've left the stadium and we've seen Al just chilling, sitting there waiting for his taxi.
I just was reminded of something. Our friend Mark Lindsay had another moment.
Oh my gosh! How do we not have the audio queued up of that yet?
We do.
Okay, good.
I forgot to play it Thursday when Troy was here. Forgot to play it yesterday when you were here, Igo. We got to play it now. Shirley, first of all, hit the old classic first. This is our friend Mark Lindsay, who sometimes just kind of
talks before he thinks.
Yeah. He's trying to get to a point and he can't quite get there. And look, I talk a lot. It happens to me a lot, but when Mark Lindsay does it, for some reason, it's funnier than when other people do it.
And he really stumbles over his words when he does it.
All right, here's an old favorite from Mark Lindsay.
How do you feel like you match up against this particular ball club as you come into this week? That's a pretty that could play at the higher level for sure.
The funny part is he stumbles through it, and then at the end he sends out this confident for sure, like out of nowhere.
Like, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was a good question, statement, whatever that was. All right, well, let's hear this week's on the Zoom, where he got a little caught up on his words.
Blake, where do you feel like you've learned the most about your defense so far? What have they gotten better at best, and besides what you just talked about, where they got to get better at?
He kept saying best.
The funniest part was on the Zoom, it like cut to Blake Harrell's face. Like before he got done, he was just kind of like, you could tell he was just kind of like, I'm not really sure where this is going.
Best, better, best. Say it one more time, Shirley.
Blake, where do you feel like you've learned the most about your defense so far? What have they gotten better at best, and besides what you just talked about, where they got to get better at?
Best.
He stopped after the second best, like he was almost done, and that's when it cut to Blake. He was like, "What?
What? Best?"
Do we have what are you turkeys doing?
Oh,
what are you turkeys cooking up for Thanksgiving?
Turkeys. I don't know.
Do we have that?
Shirley,
that's old, but that's a classic, man.
What do you turkeys got cooking up
this week?
That was great. Mark Lindsay, friend of the show,
the best.
We've had him on. Yeah, we need to get him on again.
We need to get him back on to hear some of those live questions. All right, we have broken this game down all week long, gentlemen, and all day.
It's much like the Georgia State game, where I feel like we talked about it ad nauseum. That it's pretty obvious what ECU needs to do. They need to get better on offense. They need to get better in protection. They got to figure out the quarterback situation for South Florida.
What do they need to get best at?
Better, best, or
making some plays again, like hitting some big plays.
Yeah, this is you. I think it was you, Ronnie, that talked about it with Coach. Well, it might have been Houston or Kirkpatrick. I can't remember. And I think you might have been talking about both teams, but specifically ECU. Like, how much could a big play spark these offenses? Because two struggling offenses, like almost mirroring each other right now. You need that big play to CJ. That maybe a big screen pass to a running back, something to get it going.
And it's cheap points in a way. Like it's not like Steven said. Man, you had to 13-play, 80-yard drive that took 10 minutes where you had to execute every single play. Like sometimes if you just take advantage of like a busted coverage or, somebody just makes a play, breaks a tackle, and goes 50 yards, like, all right, that was 7 points. That was easy. That didn't require all these other things to fit together for 8, 9, 10 plays. So that's the one thing I'm going to be really looking for tonight. On both sides is who can get those cheap points. As I said, I think could really swing momentum and help out a team.
South Florida, I'm sure.
Turkeys.
There you go.
Turkeys got cooked up for Thanksgiving here.
Yeah.
Hopefully try to get a little momentum going here. And
David Blackwell.
Yeah.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Say that again, Shirley.
What do you turkeys got cooked up for Thanksgiving here? Hopefully try to get a little momentum going here.
What a legend, man.
Had Blackwell taken over then?
Yeah.
I think it was the week before.
Yeah.
That would be the end of the
game was
season.
December.
Oh, okay,
That was the week before when he asked the Thanksgiving question.
Yeah.
Going to the Cincinnati game.
You don't ask a head coach that question.
No.
You ask a defensive coordinator that question.
Him and Blackwell got buddy for sure because it was a few weeks earlier he asked Blackwell about facing Virginia Tech, and they were playing like Tulane or something. So what do you think about Virginia Tech this week? Like, and he's like, "Oh, Virginia Tech.
What was the game?
We just played them."
What was the question when Big Dog interrupted and said it was like
that was one too where he got the teams mixed up? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He said it was like the
Blackwell
first or second game of the season.
And it was like you played against NC State, and Glenn was like, "That was North Carolina."
Yeah.
In the middle of the question,
it was just at that point we had been through a whole summer of Mark Lindsay, a whole spring and summer,
the summer of Mark,
and he wouldn't give me the big ball game anymore, and I was done. I didn't need.
So you were
him.
upset with him.
I had a beef.
Blackwell loved it though. Blackwell would joke.
Blackwell would talk for 15 minutes.
Blackwell was awesome.
Blackwell is where?
Louisiana Tech.
That's right.
DC.
They are coming off a rough one, but I think they bounced back tonight.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Okay.
Against UTEP.
Is tonight a big ball game
for ECU?
For both teams. I think it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Huge ball game.
Bird up game or just a?
This is a bird up game, in my opinion. This has bird up written all over it.
Man, Pirates need it in a big way.
I do, like Steven said, I do miss the road trips of the 4-5 hour block. We're actually at the stadium on the field, before the game, watching the game. Because you can watch TV, but you can't see the sideline or who came out or who limped off or who's
Who's warming up
dancing and
pregame.
who's fighting.
Y'all
Who
always
knows?
had pregame pictures, but also pregame like so and
this
so's
is going on.
warming up.
Yeah,
so and
that
so's
stuff.
not in uniform.
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
But Steven probably has a different answer. But to me, at this point, personally, that is less than the 5:30 a.m. wake up.
That's the worst,
Because
yeah.
you got a flight at 7 a.m. in Tampa, and you got to get back and got to write a column in the airport, and you got to run to catch the flight to get to New Orleans, which is the one flight you can't miss at all if you're in the AAC. And we did that. And Steven dusted me, too. That's a good story. To New Orleans last year. Remember, our flight got delayed like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
We almost
Yep.
missed it. And I was ready to give up. Steven looked back, and I'm like way back, and like turn. I'm like, man, I'm punting. Like I can't. I'm not gonna make it. And we literally just made it. And I was sweating. I'm like, well, let's go to Bourbon Street. Like we get it. You know, this is why you travel on Friday to New Orleans. But that stuff, I don't miss at all. At all.
Yeah, the travel aspect can be hectic. I mean, especially
Because it's the American. Like, it's not like if you're covering NC State and Wake Forest and Duke, it's like every flight is like 2 time zones and a whole weekend excursion.
coming back is the worst part of it
Yeah.
usually, because you're trying to get, especially if it's a night game and you got to get work done on either late that night or early the next morning, and you have to be at the airport at 6:30. So that's what sucks. Like tonight, I will not be sad that I'm not there.
As far as the Orthopedics East injury report goes, Stephen, Jeff Charles said earlier Deontay Smith not playing. I guess that's well known. Mike Houston said this week that Noah Henderson's still a ways away.
Yeah.
So you're down in a couple of tackles there. Josiah Hatfield, do we know about him?
We don't know about Deshaun Hatfield, and Juwan Powell's the other one who didn't play last week. And Bruce Bivens only played 9 snaps last week. I don't know if that was injury related or performance related. So those are a couple names to keep an eye on.
How do you feel about a Chris Willis sack tonight?
I feel good about it. They just need to get a sack, period. They have 0 sacks in 2 games. So for me to pinpoint one player getting a sack is like impossible.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, I just got that feeling, right?
I think Willis, I know one play last week, obviously before he got ejected, he had a nice play where I was like, I noticed that. You know, like on the TV, like, man, it was a good tackle, it was a good play. I think it might have been a tackle for loss.
He was getting in the backfield pretty good.
Yeah.
Like he's far enough in
more
his
him would be
He's far enough in his career where like the young guys are just trying to figure out how to like operate basically. Whereas he understands the game, he knows his assignments, and he's good enough to get into the backfield and make a play all in one. Like the rest of that for the young lineman will come in time. So I think it makes sense if you're talking about a D lineman get one, he makes sense. But I think with the way they blitz, it'll be a linebacker.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Jeray Wilson.
Yeah.
He's been good.
We're counting on the offensive line transfers tonight, right?
Avery Jones, Justin Chase, for sure. I think both of them start. I'll be interested to see if Trent Holler starts over Sean Bailey
The right side.
right guard, because Sean Bailey did not have a good game last week. Trent Holler very young, but I think has some upside. So how much do they rotate? They want to get some continuity there, but they also have to get better performance there.
And all right, the right tackle, Malovic and
Chase.
Yeah, the right side of the line, definitely.
Everywhere.
Be interesting. Yeah.
What's the most important thing for an ECU victory tonight, Stephen?
Pass protection.
How about how about this? What kind of offensive game do we see tonight? Do the Pirates try to muck it up and run the ball and keep the clock running and don't try to get Ehlers killed, or do they throw it 55 times and try to open it up like they did in those games we were talking about on Friday ago with Cincinnati and SMU?
I think that the way South Florida is built defensively, they're going to try to run the ball because they're better against the pass and the run. Now, will they be able to do that? I don't know. I think the first drive or two will dictate a lot. At the same time, the ECU, they like to come out and try to establish a run. Maybe they try to take a shot or two downfield early just to do something different. Maybe they come out and hurry up or just something different. I would like to see them enter the game with some tempo. That way you're not worried about trying to keep the defense off the field because they're going to be fresh out of the gate. So enter the game with some tempo, especially if you get the ball first, and just see how it goes. If you go 3 and out, then scrap it. At least you tried it. I would just like to see them come out with a sense of purpose.
First drives have been, well, I shouldn't say
Haven't
that.
been an issue.
They had a pick 6.
Oh, yeah.
Warren Saba helped the first drive.
Scoring first.
Has not been an issue.
Yeah.
How about you, Ronnie? What do you think the Pirates do tonight offensively?
They got to play fast.
You
That's
just
what
go?
we learned, right? Got to play fast. No,
That's a great question.
kind of going on that. Yeah, I want to see them. I want to see like a true football game that we've seen different points today. Like one team punches, the other team punched back.
Yeah.
You know, like back and forth. Kind of what we thought last week would be. Not South Florida scores a touchdown. South Florida scores a touchdown. South Florida scores a touchdown, and you're down 30.
So basically, the last 2 games.
Yeah, like that's been the problem.
Yeah.
Is like
So, okay.
one touchdown turns into 4.
You want to see it back and forth.
Yeah.
What if it's punt, 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 punt?
That's fine.
That's fine too.
Because it's not just a one.
Because that could definitely happen tonight as well.
But which would be, I don't know what the word.
Better than the
refreshing,
last 2 games.
And I think it goes into what Mike Houston talked about, the mentality of don't let that. And even Blake Harrell said it, like don't play the next play.
Yeah.
Don't let that play turn into a 20-point, 30-point deficit, because that's what's happened with ECU. Is this? I mean, it's 2 games, so small sample size, but that just scoring runs, it's like basketball. You know, like team goes on the 20-0 run, and it's like, oh, and the game just kind of becomes an afterthought. Like the pendulum of like take a punch and then throw one and keep going. You know, like that fight. You know, Steven said intensity, whatever. They haven't had that ability to bounce back during a game, and I think that's something that's key.
Good stuff, gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having us.
Go enjoy some Parker's Barbecue.
Yeah.
And fans, one of you will be enjoying some Parker's Barbecue because we're going to open up the Pirate Radio live line right now, the Fixed NC live line right now. And caller 12, you going to do that, Shirley? Is that cool with you? Was that like Steven Eichner's bumper music?
Let's do it.
What was that?
I am so sorry. No, I was actually trying to switch screens on the computer and I hit the wrong button.
And we're jamming out to some Hoist the Colors radio.
Sorry.
All right, caller 12, 317-1250 wins a case of Bud Light and a $25 gift card to Parker's Barbecue. That is on the line, and Shirley will answer the lines, and caller 12 is a winner. More to go. We'll talk to David Glenn when we return on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate after this.
Looking for your next career opportunity? How about some extra cash to help pay for school? Your locally owned and operated Dixon Foods McDonald's is hiring, and they would love to have you as part of the McFamily. They offer flexible hours, competitive pay, and financial support to pursue your education through McDonald's Archways to Opportunity program. Come join the family at McDonald's. Don't let this financial opportunity pass you by. Please visit DixonFoods.com to apply.
Ahoy, mateys! To keep those cars clean, you need the Pirates Cove Fast Pass.
The new Pirates Cove Car Wash and Haviland Express Lube on Glen Burnie Road in New Bern is now open. Pirates Cove is now offering Fast Passes for $9.99 for new Fast Pass customers. These Fast Passes are good in New Bern and at all 3 Greenville locations. Visit us in Greenville on Fire Tower Road, Memorial Drive, and on East 10th Street. And now in New Bern on Glen Burnie Road.
So we have you surrounded. Pirates Cove, the official car wash partner of ECU Athletics.
Hidden phone trade-ins, hidden plan requirements, hidden catches. You won't find them at US Cellular because we speak fair. Plus, when you switch right now, you can get $500 off the latest phones. Upgrade to fair. Upgrade to US Cellular. Requires new postpaid service plan, new line port, and credit approval. Qualified smartphone purchase and comes via monthly bill credit on a 30-month RIC. Taxes, fees, and additional terms apply.
Does the idea of going to your local U.S. Cellular store make you feel a bit uncomfortable? Tired of the hassle of waiting and wearing a mask? Let Toby Williams and its outside sales team take away that worry. They will come right to your home or office and drop your phone off on the porch or at the front desk for you. Saving you time and worry is what the team at Cellular Warehouse is all about. Call Toby today at 252-799-7051 and let them help you with all of your wireless needs. Cellular Warehouse, your local U.S. Cellular authorized agent.
Your CBD store in Greenville has the highest quality CBD products in the country. Your CBD store is the first and only brand that carries USDA certified organic products such as gummies, honey sticks, and high absorption water-soluble liquids, which are all made in the United States. They even offer products for your pet. The educated staff will help you answer any questions, and you can stop in anytime to get a free sample. Your CBD store, locally owned and operated, open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, right beside Duck Donuts in Greenville.
This is Sam Jones inviting you to join us for lunch, dinner, or takeout at Sam Jones Barbecue. At Sam Jones, you'll find our smokehouse pumping out fresh food cooked over wood every single day. That's our Eastern North Carolina whole hog barbecue, slow-cooked chicken, smoked turkey, and spare ribs. There are no freezers here. Everything, and we mean everything, is made fresh daily, including our sides, sweets, and sauces. Come on over and see us at Sam Jones Barbecue, and I'll bet you'll be able to taste the difference in just one bite. Sam Jones Barbecue, Fire Tower Road.
Hi, this is Phil Steele of Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Hey, watch all of Pirate Radio's local programming on YouTube Live. You can go to YouTube and search for Pirate Radio TV and subscribe today. Watch Pirate Radio Live Monday through Friday, 3 until 6 p.m., and the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate in U.S. Cellular Fifth Quarter on game days. Just go to YouTube and search Pirate Radio TV and subscribe. Now let's head back in to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
Alrighty, moving right along in hour number 3 of today's show. And we've got David Glenn coming up in just a moment at 6 o'clock. We'll visit with the BMOC, the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau from Barstool Sports, get his thoughts on tonight's action, including ECU and South Florida. And also in hour number 4, a live check-in with Billy Weaver, Brian North. If we have time, Morgan Ehlers is at the stadium. We'll try to check in with him as well in hour number 4 of today's show. There's still a lot to go and a lot of action going on right now. We talked about it. They hit halftime in the Tennessee-Georgia game, 21-17, as Georgia was stonewalled there at the 1 yard line and did not get in. So Tennessee a 4-point lead at the half. Also, Iowa State on top of Texas Tech right now in the third, 21-7. Auburn a 20-12 lead right before halftime against Arkansas. We'll talk about more action that's gone on around the country today and ECU South Florida with David Glenn, who joins us on the Fixed NC Live line. DG.
I'm doing great, man. We don't usually have this many victories on the gridiron to celebrate as a state. So I'm kind of hoping the Pirates can kind of build on the mojo with the Wolfpack, the Tar Heels, and the Blue Devils all winning in football clip on the same day.
And good wins, too.
To celebrate.
And good wins, too, right, David? I mean, North Carolina puts up a boatload of points, knocks off Virginia Tech 56-45. NC State goes on the road. Virginia looked pretty solid against Clemson last week. State wins by 17 on the road. And Duke goes to the Carrier Dome and gets a 14-point win. So you're right, a trio of triangle victories today and good wins at that.
Yeah, and I'd start with Carolina because Virginia Tech is a good team. And they obviously put up a lot of points against the Tar Heels. Carolina, we knew going into the season, was going to be great offensively. And whereas they didn't quite hit on all cylinders in their 2-0 start, they certainly did that today against the Hokies, who were missing some, COVID-related players on the defensive side of the ball in particular. But, Mac Brown's offense is for real. Now, the Hokies exposed the defense in a way that's going to come back to haunt the Tar Heels later. We'll see. But Carolina's in a great position. Keep in mind, NC State, with Devin Leary back as their starter, just put back-to-back wins that I thought were impressive, both on the road, Pitt and UVA. So with Devin Leary, the Pack is a good-looking football team. And Duke, not as much to celebrate. I don't think Syracuse is good this year. But, the Blue Devils kind of get off the schneid and get their first victory of the season and limited their turnovers for a change. So, everybody in the triangle has something good to feel about. I feel good about, and now it's up to the Pirates to end this day the same way.
Well, David, as I said earlier this week, if it was 20, 25 years ago, Florida State Notre Dame would be the headliner in college football tonight. Instead, it's Miami Clemson. That's 7:30 on ABC. And, you know, a lot of back and forth this week. Can the U hang with Clemson? Is Clemson going to steamroll Miami like they do pretty much everyone in the ACC? What's your take on this game tonight at Death Valley?
I still like Clemson for sure. I mean, no shock there, right? But I don't think it'll be what we've seen the last two times these two got together. Believe it or not, the combined score the last two times Clemson played Miami in football, one of them was actually the ACC championship game back in 2017. Combined score of the last two, Tigers 92, Hurricanes 3. So that kind of emphasizes that not only have the Tigers become the super heavyweight of the ACC and one of the biggest in the country under Dabo Swinney, Miami, a five-time national champion, has been a shadow of itself over this last decade and a half as a member of the ACC. Manny Diaz was actually the Canes' defensive coordinator when they lost 38-3 to the Tigers in that ACC title game 3 years ago. These Canes are better. The problem is Clemson's still number one. Clemson's still really good. The reason I don't think it'll be a steamrolling is the Houston transfer, Derek King, has been a really good player for the Canes at quarterback. He has an NFL caliber tight end in Brevin Jordan. They have some pretty athletic guys on their defensive front at Miami. So if Virginia can at least hang around with Clemson for a while, and Miami's better than Virginia, theoretically, the Canes should be able to hang around as well. I just don't think they're going to shock the world with an upset.
Talking to David Glenn on the Fixed NC Live line here on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. David, you like to celebrate all things North Carolina and what's state-related. And here's another one for you. Josh on Facebook Live says Harold Varner III is -4 so far and 3 shots back of the lead. So there's another thing to celebrate today.
I saw that. And wasn't he went way low yesterday, like a ridiculous number. I for some reason, I thought he was posting like a 64 or something yesterday. So, yes, that is one more thing to celebrate. He's been a great guest over the years.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm sure, as well. So he's an easy-to-root-for personality for sure.
DG, David Glenn joining us. All right, let's see if the Pirates can join this celebration bandwagon. They take on South Florida tonight. And, David, as long as you've been doing this, you know how cyclical things are for a lot of schools. I mean, some schools are always going to be better than others, but when you look at the American, UCF, it wasn't long ago, they were winless in the AAC, and now they're a power in the AAC. South Florida, not too long ago, was putting up a ton of points with Willie Taggart at the helm. They have fallen from grace. We know how far ECU's fallen from grace. So you've got a very similar matchup tonight between these teams that are Jeff Scott in year one is kind of looking for what he's got, especially at the quarterback position, playing a lot of different guys. Mike Houston trying to still figure out what he's got here in his second year with the program. So kind of a similar deal for both sides in this matchup tonight, DG. And one of these, I said it, if you're looking around for UConn, you don't see UConn, maybe you are the UConn. There's going to be one of these teams is going to be the UConn. One of these teams is going to be in the basement after tonight, David, and really digging themselves a hole after this game.
Yeah, and a lot of this goes back to, unless you have the infrastructure like an Alabama has, or the way Clemson has built, not only Death Valley, but the budget and recruiting budget and coaching staff budget. It's not a guarantee of success if you have that kind of infrastructure, but it certainly helps. Almost everybody else fits this description, whereas you said UCF has been really, really down, but has been really, really up lately. And with South Florida, I think we've seen a similar pattern. Skip Holtz was there for a while, Willie Taggart, as you mentioned. Charlie Strong was kind of middling in his era there relatively recently, and they don't have the history or the budget or the stadium or the NFL pipeline or the things that just make it almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're just stacking the next tenure on top of the last tenure and you almost have to be bad to screw things up. Schools like ECU and UCF have had their ups and downs. or USF rather, and it's really nowadays about finding that right coach. And I think most people I know here in North Carolina believe that Mike Houston's track record deserves a lot of credit, and that in time he's going to have the Pirates winning in the AAC. Is he going to have them winning by year 2? That is a much bigger leap of faith, but you could say the same of Jeff Scott. And I actually think, I'm sure you've broken it down. When the Pirates have the ball, they're fun to watch. I know they've turned it over some. I know there have been, too many yellow flags, et cetera. But they're fun to watch. And if they're going to beat USF today, they're probably going to have to put up a big number because ECU just does not have the personnel to play dominating defense. It's almost like just hang on for your life defense and try to outscore USF. But I think the Pirates have the personnel offensively to fit that formula. They just have to make the occasional play on defense, get off the field on third down, create a turnover. That's going to be the difference, I think, between a win today or one more loss for the Pirates.
Visiting with David Glenn on the Fixed NC Live line. David, while we got you here, can the Panthers make it 3 in a row? Very interesting game for them tomorrow against Atlanta. The Falcons obviously struggling. They're trying to find their first win of the year. And the Panthers are kind of looking around like, okay, the Bucs lost the other night. The Saints aren't, elite, and the Falcons can't buy a win. If they win tomorrow, David, you start to go from, okay, we're tanking this year to we got a shot to win the division all of a sudden.
It is crazy. I think Tampa with Tom Brady and New Orleans with Drew Brees are still much better bets than the two teams that are going to play each other tomorrow in the NFC South. But do I think they can win tomorrow? I do. I think it gets trickier after that. They got to go to Kansas City. They got to go to New Orleans. They got to deal with the Buccaneers again. They've got to play at Green Bay, I believe. So I don't like the first year of Matt Rule overall. But I'll give him credit for his 2-2 start after what looked like an ugly start. He has them, putting together back-to-back victories. And the Falcons, let's face it, they're reeling. They are giving up points by the bucket load. Matt Ryan and that offense are still dangerous, but they are very gettable on defense. And if Teddy Bridgewater and, Mike Davis has been a real find at running back, Robbie Anderson a real find at wide receiver, I certainly think the Panthers are a better team than how the Falcons are playing right now. So maybe this is the second week in a row that, you and I can talk about a probable Panthers victory, and that's fun, given what the conversation was about a month ago.
DG, always enjoy it, man. Appreciate you joining us here today on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, and we'll lob you a phone call next week and talk to you early morning next week, a noon kickoff, ECU Navy, and do it all over again. We appreciate it, man.
Right back at you, Clip. Always good to be with you, man. Take care.
Thank you, sir. There's DG, David Glenn, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. Let's take a timeout, come back, wrap up hour 3, and get set to head into hour number 4 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. More to go after this.
At Tiebreakers, we pride ourselves on serving
big, juicy wings.
I'm talking
big and juicy.
Our chickens are the same ones that kick sand in the other chickens' faces. If our chickens played football, they'd be linebackers. The competition's chickens, they'd be
skinny little kickers.
Trade those kickers in for linebackers.
Tiebreakers is open every day at 11 a.m. Follow Tiebreakers on Facebook and Instagram for daily updates.
This is Dr. Phil Perdue with Orthopedics East and Sports Medicine Center. My colleagues and I recognize how difficult this time is for everyone in our community. We continue to see patients during the week while taking precautions to keep everyone safe. Our extended care clinic is now open on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. so you can avoid the emergency department for your urgent orthopedic care. For more information, please contact us at 757-2663 or visit our website at orthoeast.com.
Summertime is here with hot temperatures, thunderstorms, and hurricanes. It's easy to recognize pests invading your home, but a lot of people forget about moisture destroying your home's crawl space. Pest Tech is celebrating its 20th year protecting your homes using dehumidifiers, professional-grade liners, and most importantly, our licensed and highly trained technicians. Visit pesttechofgreenville.com for a free estimate on moisture control and the other silent destroyer, termites. Trust your home to the best. Pest Tech of Greenville, your East Coast exterminating professionals.
University PC Care has been the Pirate Nation's go-to IT expert since 2006. Unfortunately, many organizations today simply react to IT issues after the damage is done. This is known as the break-fix cycle in the tech service industry. University PC Care's Business Services Division has a better way, a proactive solution called BizCare. What's at your office? Call William at University PC Care today to schedule your free BizCare consultation or learn more at universitypccare.com.
I'm Michael Vaughn with East Coast Grading and Utilities. Many of you know my dad, David Vaughn, and his work in putting in subdivisions all over Pirate Nation. But East Coast Grading and Utilities is not just for those type of big jobs. We're here for the homeowners. Whether it's concrete, driveways, hauling rock, or sand, whatever you need, East Coast Grading and Utilities can get the job done. Call us at 252-531-7494 or check us out on Facebook at East Coast Grading and Utilities.
Get your sports weekend started at Familia. Every Thursday, Familia has $2 drafts all day. Stop by with your friends and family for some New York-style pizza and have an ice-cold $2 draft. Sunday brunch is the best for food and family. Come and enjoy favorites like shrimp and grits, made-to-order omelets, French toast, and drink specials like $3 mimosas, beer mimosas, or $5 Bloody Marys. Familia, Fire Tower Road near Pitt Community College, and FamiliaNC.com.
Pirate Radio.
And you write that down, because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it!
The voice of the Pirate Nation. You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show. Now, with the Pirate Radio scoreboard, here's Shirley Rhodes.
All right, in the third quarter, Tennessee is clinging to a 1-point lead over Georgia, 21-20. It's Iowa State 21, Texas Tech 7 in the third quarter. BYU holds a 14-6 lead over Texas San Antonio in the third quarter. At half, it is Kansas State 14, TCU 7. FIU is trailing Middle Tennessee at halftime 17-14. Pittsburgh is trailing Boston College 17-14 at the half, and Auburn has a 20-12 lead over Arkansas at halftime. Arkansas State is trailing Central Arkansas 29-13, and Troy still holds a 28-10 lead over Texas State in the third quarter. And that is a look at your scoreboard. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Braun.
All right, thank you, Shirley Rhodes. Welcome back into the show as we'll wrap up hour number 3 here. Tennessee is killing me with these turnovers. Already 2 turnovers in the third quarter. But their defense continuing to get the job done. Fourth down coming up for Georgia, as this one looks like it's going to go down to the wire in the SEC. Also coming up tonight in the SEC, Bama and Ole Miss. ACC, you got Florida State, Notre Dame, and then the headliner, Clemson and Miami. And we are getting you ready for ECU and USF. Still got a lot of guests to get to coming up in our hour number 4, including the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau from Barstool Sports, WITN Sports Director Billy Weaver, and WCTI 12 Sports Director Brian North. All that and more on the way in hour number 4 of today's show. Let's take a break because we got to catch up on a break, a 2-minute timeout, and we will be back with you on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate with just 1 hour to go until kickoff, ECU and South Florida. We're back after this.
It's bow time.
The barbecue sandwich from Bojangles is back. Wait, Bojangles has barbecue?
Yeah, keep going.
Well, okay then. We're talking tender pulled pork with a tangy Carolina vinegar kick. Unforgettably topped with our country coleslaw, all on perfectly toasted buns. So if you're like me and missed it last time, get your hands on a barbecue sandwich combo pronto.
It's bow time.
If you are push mowing your yard using an inefficient lawn tractor or your current zero-turn spends more time in the shop than mowing your grass, it's time you look at a Hustler zero-turn lawnmower. Residential mowers from Hustler are built like tanks and drive like sports cars. All Hustler mowers have fabricated welded steel decks. Don't settle on cheap units with flimsy stamped decks from big box stores. Come see Ron Ayers Motorsports. It will guide you to the right mower for your property and your budget. Find us at Ron Ayers Motorsports, Highway 11 north of the airport in Greenville.
Every team knows that the two-point play can be a winning move. That's why I'm here. State Farm agent Timothy Sawyer and my team are here to help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score some savings by combining your home and auto. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, Timothy Sawyer, at 493-0002 today.
When you don't have time to go to lunch, let Jimmy John's deliver lunch to you. With Jimmy John's, we can get a freaky fresh sandwich to you freaky fast. Click to order at jimmyjohns.com. Dinner's great. It's one of your top 3 favorite meals. You just don't want to have to make it. Well, with Jimmy John's, you don't have to. Whether you live in a sandwich delivery zone or head into the store, you can always get a freaky fresh sandwich. Click to order at jimmyjohns.com.
This is Pirate Radio, WGHB Farmville, 1250 and 92.7 FM Greenville, WDLX Washington, 930 and 104.1 FM Washington. You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. Did you miss a show on Pirate Radio? Well, listen to all of Pirate Radio's archived local programming by subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe today by going to the podcast app on your iPhone or Apple device and search for Pirate Radio Audio Archives. Now let's head back in to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
Hour number 4 of the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. This is weird because our first 2 games, Shirley, were nooners. So we were, this would be 11 a.m. if this was a nooner. And now...
Correct.
The day's almost over.
Yeah,
and we have not kicked off yet.
Yeah.
And it's strange to me.
Yes.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
And we have to do it again next week where we have an early one.
Correct. We have a nooner against the Navy coming up as the Pirates will be back home. Also, this will be our first late night edition of the U.S. Cellular 5th quarter call-in show. So, got that coming up after tonight's game. All right, we got the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. Jeff Nadeau from Barstool Sports is here. Jeff, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, Clip. How are you guys?
I'm good. How's your day going? I saw you making fun of Florida bettors, and I was one of those. Got in on it earlier this week, and I saw the writing on the wall as the week went along when everybody was taking Florida, and I had already gotten in, so I took the L today. How have you been doing so far?
I'm doing well. I'm 1-0 so far. I got a little lucky late with Oklahoma and Texas, and I got in on a good number with that one, and it didn't end up mattering. But sometimes you need things to go your way. But, yeah, the Florida game, it just – I think by game time, and there was 2.5s out there some places. So, yeah, sometimes you make those mistakes. You just got to learn and move on.
Jeff, some headliners coming up tonight, and we'll talk about ECU and South Florida in a moment, but Clemson, Miami, I guess Florida State, Notre Dame is only a headliner by name only. Notre Dame, a huge favorite there, 3 touchdowns against Florida State. Alabama, a big favorite at Ole Miss. So how about those 3 games in particular? Are you doing anything with those matchups tonight?
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye to the sky and to the weather forecast down in Oxford with Ole Miss and Alabama. It looks like we're going to get a pretty weather-free game as far as wind and rain. It's important to understand that rain doesn't affect the total. Now, torrential downpours definitely hurt, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that tonight. Seems to be pretty good weather down in that area. Look, if you can get no weather issues, those offenses aren't going to be stopped, especially Alabama. I've got a feeling Nick Saban's going to want to look to run that score up in that game. It's what he usually does. And I don't know, the game just had the likes of me to like a 52-24 type of game. Ole Miss can move the ball, but as the game goes on, I just think they're going to fail to kind of run with Alabama. And we know how bad Ole Miss has been defensively, and I think they will be. Plus, the Ole Miss Rebels run a really quick pace. I think they're fourth in the country in seconds per play. So you should have a great pace in that game. I think the one thing that's kept a lot of people off it has been the weather concerns. Clemson, Miami, to me, this one kind of speaks to me and says, public dogs generally die. We saw that in week 1 with Auburn and Kentucky. You look at this game, I think there's a lot of people out there that have seen Miami look really good against subpar opponents. This is a major step up. And when you're Miami, they've struggled to throw the football down the field. Clemson is just really good between the sticks, and they're going to be really difficult to move the ball on. Add in the fact that Trevor Lawrence has gone clip over a year without turning the football over from the interception standpoint.
Wow.
They just don't turn a ball over very often, and that offense is really smart with the football. They don't turn it over either. You also have to wonder, Miami's defense did lose some real talent last year. Gregory Rousseau opted out. Shaq Quarterman went to the NFL draft. We've seen teams move the football on Miami. This isn't UAB. This isn't a bad Louisville team. This isn't a bad Florida State team. This is a major step up. I think Clemson pulls away, wins 41-24, 41-21, something like that.
Jeff Nadeau, big man on campus, Barstool Sports, joining us today on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Jeff, we've been chasing some North Texas overs this year. I think last week you pushed with them because you got a good number at 72. I got it at 74, lost by 2 points. Are we chasing another North Texas over tonight? They take on Charlotte, total sitting there in the mid-60s.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think both teams have defensive woes, but I got to tell you, Clip, I think the good thing about this game, I've talked a lot about pace and totals. You're going to get pace here. I mean, this game should go up and down. The issue that I have here is, this is a high total. It's up near 70. I didn't love what I saw at North Texas from an offensive standpoint last week. Southern Miss is a bad defense, and they had major trouble at times moving the football. Charlotte's a team that I think is kind of undervalued. A lot of people don't seem to give them much in the way of respect. The good thing about this number, though, is it's not really high. It's not 75 or 77 or even, let's say, 73 or 74. 38-31 is a winner in this game. So if you're going to ask me, would I play this total over? Probably. It wasn't at the top of my list. I need to see North Texas kind of prove it. I guess the thing with them is at this point, you just kind of assume that they're going to throw the football a ton. The pace is going to be there. But I got to tell you, man, you know me. There's someone in my betting life that I have a little bit of a beef with. He might be on this over, so it's got me kind of scratching my head and wondering. So
I gotcha.
I'll tell you this, though. North Texas team total might have some interest for me here.
Okay.
But we'll see. I got to look more little into this one.
Hey, Jeff, when I talked to you Thursday on Pirate Radio Live, I said that the ECU and South Florida line had kind of settled in, and it jumped after we spoke. I saw it up at 6 and 6.5, but now I'm looking at it 5.5. South Florida a favorite. Now the total has jumped. It's jumped 3.5 points since we last spoke. It's at 58. So people are on the over in this game. I get it because ECU plays in a lot of over games, but you got two really struggling offenses here, Jeff. So I don't know. I said 31-23. Pirates, I guess that would put me in the under category here. I don't have a good reason one way or the other, but any thoughts on ECU South Florida coming up at 7?
Yeah, I always like to read hoist the colors. I know Igo's someone that's on your show a lot. I like those guys. They do a nice job. He had it 31-24. That's kind of where I have it. I got to tell you, though, I think this is a game that ECU can win. Again, I thought last week was a game they could win as well. But they have to protect Holton Ahlers, and he talked about that in his column. Look, they have skill position players, and they actually have a lot better skill position players than I think a lot of people give them credit for. I mean, remember they went out and got Chance Hayden, who comes over from an SEC school. Holton Ahlers can wing the ball around, but I've talked many times, if you can't protect your quarterback, you can't get to the opposing team's quarterback, you will not win in college football, in the NFL, really wherever you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did, Cliff. I'll be real honest with your audience. I took ECU. I didn't worry about the points. I just made a bet.
Oh, boy.
I grabbed them at 170. I took the money line here. I think this is a football game they can win. I think it's as porous as they were last week defensively. I think if you're ECU, you have to look at it and say, well, we have played really good offenses. Last week was embarrassing. Maybe they get off the mat here. I don't love Jordan McLeod. In fact, I don't like Jordan McLeod at all. I'm going to say that ECU wins this football game. I'm not going to worry about the points.
Man, I hope they do, because if not, that means I'm going to get some angry Jeff Nadeau texts during the game and saying, what the hell is this team?
No, you know what? You're not going to, because I look at this and just say, it's a game that I think when you look at it and you're gambling and you're up, you take some shots occasionally.
Right.
You don't go outside of your bankroll, but
take the dog money line shots, Jeff, if you're up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you do. And
Okay.
I'm going to here.
All right, I like it. All right, Jeff, before we let you go, NFL slate for Sunday. What did you say? You're earlier this week you were looking at the Panthers a little bit?
Yeah, I actually bet the Panthers. I took it at I didn't go crazy on it. I grabbed it at 2.5. I was able to get a good number. This one's kind of been all over the place. That's one I had my eye on. It's an interesting card this week. I mean, nowadays there's so many weird scheduling issues, teams not playing. But I'll tell you a game quickly that I have my eye on, Giants-Cowboys. I think at some point, and I think I said this to you the other day, at some point, I think we just have to auto-bet Cowboy overs at this point. They are horrible defensively. I don't think the Giants are going to get many stops. And both these teams, from a pace perspective, are actually quite fast. Giants are top 10. And I've talked before, the Dallas Cowboys are running a play 5 seconds faster than any team in the National Football League. They're running it almost like a college offense at this point. They don't huddle. They're just going up and down. They're efficient. I don't think either team gets many stops here. I think this turns into a good old-fashioned NFC East shootout. Two teams duking it out. We know Daniel Jones can move the ball. I think he's going to be more throwing the ball, just no Saquon Barkley. You got to attack that secondary. I think this is like a 31-27 type of game.
Jason Garrett's going to pull out all the stops against his old team, right?
That's a very good inference by you, Coach Brock. You continue to wow me with some of your newfound betting advice.
I know things, Jeff. Jeff, you going to be on the stream tomorrow in the Philly Gambling House there on Barstool?
I am going to be. I'll be there doing the 1 o'clock games. I'm still up in the air about how long the day's going to be, but I'll be there. I would have to figure we got NBA Finals. We got some other things as well. Real quick, Clip, I know this show's live. UFC tonight. Marcin Tybura. He's going to beat Ben Rothwell. Ben Rothwell is like 60 years old. I think he's going to have major trouble here against this young Polish kid. Tybura is an animal. I think he beats Ben Rothwell. I don't understand why he's an underdog.
How about that, folks? A UFC freebie here from the big man on campus, Jeff Nadeau. Jeff, always enjoy, man. Good luck tonight. Good luck tomorrow. We'll be checking you out on the Barstool stream, and we'll talk to you again Monday on Pirate Radio Live.
I'm screaming, go Pirates tonight.
All right. Let's go. If you hear those screams from the north, that's the BMOC. Jeff Nadeau pulling for the Pirates tonight. He's taking them outright, taking them money line to knock off USF tonight. We'll continue to get you set for that game when we return on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. I'm trying to see if we can get an in-stadium report from one Morgan Ehlers. Maybe we'll have that. If not, we'll see what Billy Weaver's up to when we return on Pirate Radio here on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Back with more, hour number 4 after this.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Banking is banking until service is not the same. This is Eric Clark from Select Bank and Trust, and this year has been unusual, but we have continued to focus on what has always been important to us, our customers. When businesses needed access to the Paycheck Protection Program, our team of local bankers worked around the clock to successfully keep our customers open and their employees working. Wouldn't you like to deal with a bank that is responsive to your needs, can make local decisions, and cares about you, the customer? We are Select Bank and Trust. Bank local, bank select.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. BMS Builders is your premier custom builder in eastern North Carolina. With Blackwood and Mills Creek in Greenville, Dalton's Cove in Farmville, and Belmar in Ayden, these are just a few of the developments featuring BMS Builders homes. They can build the home of your dreams. Just ask Dr. Dennis Ross in Greenville or East Carolina football coach Mike Houston. They built their homes, and they can build yours as well. BMS Builders. Give them a call at 916-1578 for BMS Builders.
The Rick House is Eastern North Carolina's premier American-styled restaurant and bar. Join us at the Rick House for mouth-watering steaks and the best burgers around. Check out the spicy mahi risotto or the bourbon pecan salmon. Wednesday night is date night. 2 salads, an appetizer, a bottle of wine, 2 entrees, and a dessert for just $55. Thursday is ladies' night with $5 martinis and special apps. The Rick House, American Provisions and Spirits, 710 Red Banks Road beside the bowling alley in Greenville. The Rick House.
This is assistant football coach Drew Dudzik, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back. Hey, join us immediately after today's game between the Pirates and the Bulls for the one and only U.S. Cellular 5th quarter call-in show. Coach Rick Smith will be in studio, and we'll be taking your calls on the Fixed NC Live line at 317-1250, plus reading your Facebook Live comments and your tweets at PR927FM. When the 4th quarter ends, it's the U.S. Cellular 5th quarter call-in show right here on the voice of the Pirate Nation. Now let's head back into the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, rolling right along. We are about 45 minutes away. I lied. A little bit more than that because I think it's a 7:08 kickoff to be exact on ESPN Plus, but about an hour away, less than an hour away from kicking things off down at Raymond James Stadium, and we'll try to go out live to Raymond James here in just a moment and talk to Morgan Ehlers, who is there at the stadium. Got Chandler Honeycutt, intern Chandler, hanging out in the studios. Chandler we got a fumble, and what a recovery by the offensive lineman. What a play. Chandler was sitting out in the lobby so he could watch the TV, and I was like, Chandler, you can just come in here and watch TV if you want, man.
Yeah, don't mind me, Clip. I'm just going to watch the Georgia-Tennessee game. It's weird being in here, Clip.
Why is it weird?
Because I'm usually over there.
I know.
It is weird.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
What a play by this lineman. Look at that. That's a great play.
That looks like me back in high school.
All right, let's head out to the Fixed NC Live line, live on the scene from the pirate ship, maybe. Morgan Ehlers. What's up, Morgan?
What's going on, fellas? It is a beautiful night down here in Tampa. Got down here today. It was like 93 degrees, but now it's cooled off. It's only 88. So it's a good night for football, and I could not get in the pirate ship. They threatened to kick me out of the stadium.
Well, at least you tried. At least you tried, Morgan.
Yeah, I did. I want the photo off, but I couldn't get it.
Morgan, I believe the number was like 8,000 lower bowl, 3,000 in suites. How much purple have you seen around there, around the stadium?
From what I've seen, there's not a whole lot of green. There are some folks here. The parking lots are pretty empty when we came in about an hour and a half, about 5:30 or so. There's a lot of purple fans, though. A lot of people in this area that have made the trip. Saw Ricky Prohl, among others. And, yeah, it's going to be hopefully a good little representation for Pirate faithful. So, again, it's just an absolutely gorgeous night early in the week. They were calling for like a 70% chance of rain. And there's just a few little clouds floating in the sky, nothing that I see. And hopefully it'll be a good night for the Pirates.
Sounds like a good night for some AAC football. ECU taking on South Florida. Morgan, we talked about it Thursday on Pirate Radio Live. Got to get this offense clicking. I asked what the ECU needed to do. You said pretty much every possible thing better. So are you still sticking with that as your key tonight? Just do everything better?
I think if you do everything better, minimize the mistakes, and take advantage of some opportunities, we've got a good shot at this thing. South Florida's been struggling just like the Pirates have. One of these teams is going to come out of here with a win tonight, and then I got to think it's going to be the guys wearing the white jerseys and the purple draws.
Purple draws. Oh, is that the uniform tonight? White and purple?
Purple helmets, white jerseys, purple pants, white socks, white cleats.
There's the uniform update from Morgan Ehlers joining us live from Raymond James Stadium. Morgan, we'll let you get to your seat and enjoy the contest tonight, and we'll talk to you next week on Pirate Radio Live, man.
Thanks a lot, Cliff. You guys have a good show.
Thanks, man. There's Morgan Ehlers live on the scene at Raymond James Stadium, and Morgan will be at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium coming up next Saturday as ECU takes on Navy, and we'll have a few fans in attendance for that game coming up next week. Shirley, see if you can hook up with Brian North and see if we can get him on the phone as we continue along here on the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Chandler, I'll ask you the question of the week. If you could add one former Pirate to the lineup tonight to help ECU knock off South Florida, who would your player be?
Chris Johnson, I guess.
Okay.
I guess that's the easy answer.
Just get that instant explosion on offense.
But how would he be behind this offensive line?
Well, what you would do is somebody said his name earlier, and I said you just throw like 40 screen passes.
Or I could get Vintavious Cooper and do little dump pass screens all day long.
Just keep running screens until it works. All right, let's float that question out to another guest. We got Brian North, WCTI 12 sports director, joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. North, how you doing today, man?
Joining a day and waiting for some Pirate football now. So nice to actually have a night game to watch.
Yes, sir. A different experience than the first two, as they were nooners. We got a night game coming up tonight, 7 o'clock at Raymond James Stadium. Brian, question of the week, and you answered it on Twitter, but I'll let you tell the radio and Facebook Live audience your answer on what player you would add from the past to the roster tonight to give ECU an opportunity to win this game.
Well, it should be like one of our All-American offensive linemen that played through the years would be the good one. But me being the guy who likes our local players and thinking about the defense and how young they are, I decided to go with former linebacker Chris Moore from Havelock. Chris played with the John Thompson days and was just allowed to go water boy style wherever he wanted, would rack up 20 tackles a game. And Skip Holtz had to reel him in a little bit and teach him more disciplined football, but he ended up having a great career with ranking way up there in the tackles list. But I always loved watching Chris play. He was just a football guy who just knew where the ball was and just wanted to go get it and go tackle it. And I think ECU's defense could use a guy like that.
He literally made every tackle, Brian, was just all over the place. In some rough days, rough defenses, but, man, he would rack them up back then.
20-plus a lot, yep.
Talking to Brian North, let's stick on the defensive side of the ball. So, really sugarcoating it, really grasping at straws, but they played one good quarter, a very good first quarter against UCF. They only allowed one offensive touchdown the second half against Georgia State. So you see glimpses, but obviously they got to get better. They got to get to the quarterback, got to put some pressure on them. They're taking on a struggling offense tonight. Is this the night the defense could shine for ECU?
Well, we've been saying, hey, bud, yeah, I'm talking about the defense right now. Yeah, she's a big defensive fan, as the terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, look, we knew they're going to be young. We saw in the initial two deep that it was all 11 freshmen were listed on the two deep somewhere. You're not really huge along the defensive line, even though you've got some guys there. But you're right. You get more pressure on the quarterback, find ways. And I think with the young guys, you're just not ready to go exotic blitzes and start doing things because you have to cover the holes and make sure you don't get exposed. So I really think defensively, they're just taking baby steps as fast as they can to get there. And I think each week you can start finding out which guys can play and who can fill the holes. I think Jairo Wilson's been having a heck of a year for him at linebacker. They're starting to bring him on a little bit more pressure on some things. So, Yeah, each week I think you can do more as long as they have the mental abilities to soak it up like a sponge and do better on the defensive end. Because if you don't cover your assignments and you do something to try and get pressure to the quarterback, you're going to leave a big hole and get exposed, and you're going to have some guys with wide open touchdowns like we've seen a couple times.
Offensively, Brian, the struggles on the ECU D-line getting to the quarterback, struggles on the O-line protecting the quarterback and opening up running holes, and that's just going to be an issue the entire season, I think, especially if you're without Deontay Smith and Noah Henderson and other guys up front. So what does Donnie Kirkpatrick and the Pirate offense do to mask that a little bit tonight?
Right, and I think it all depends on the defense you're playing, and they're just trying to find answers on that offensive line. They keep moving guys around everywhere, and I know that part of that's by design. They do that some to have guys. Coach Shankweiler's always wanted guys to be multiple and be able to do different positions along that O-line, but you got to find who can block people, right? And so I've always been a guy that thinks when you play an aggressive defense that really comes at you, you do a lot of misdirection, you do a lot of things. I think Holton is best when he has some play action going and he can move and get some misdirection. When he has time to throw the ball, he's a very accurate quarterback and can do great things. I mean, you can say that for any quarterback, and it's true for Holton as well. And so they have to find plays that just he's not getting constantly pressured, whether that's more max protection, whether that's misdirection. There's got to be some things that he can do to give Holton more time to throw the ball, and when he does have that time, he's pretty effective.
Brian North joining us on the Fixed NC Live line. Phil is watching on Facebook Live and just took a picture and said, I never realized how much Brian North looks like a young fill in the blank. Who do you think, Brian? Brian, have you ever been?
It's either going to be William Shatner. It's either going to be, let's see, the latest one I've heard that somebody threw out there was the guy in Good Will Hunting. What's his name? Matt Damon. Somebody threw that one out lately.
Hey, relax. Who told you that? Your wife was being nice to you?
No, my wife would never do such a thing. So it was somebody online threw a picture out one time, and I could kind of see it, but that's the first time I heard that. Jim Moore Jr. I used to get.
Yeah.
And the one I got when I was younger was Mark Wahlberg in our younger years. Mark still looks good. I went to William Shatner.
So. Was it the abs or the face with Wahlberg that you look like?
Well, it was more the face. I did have like one or two abs. I was like your poor man's version of Marky Mark back in the day. And again, Marky Mark went on to make millions of dollars and still looks great. I turned into 82-year-old William Shatner.
Northy North. I see the Jim Moore Jr. for sure. But
when I was going to Panther games a lot more in the 2000s, when he was the head coach at the Falcons game, I got it all the time when I go to Panthers games.
North was signing autographs. Phil says, never noticed how much Brian North looks like a young William Shatner. So there you go. You called it, Brian.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, he's,
at least better than the old William Shatner. That's North what I get.
North, thanks for joining us, man. It's been a good day in the state of North Carolina for college football. You had all triangle teams winning, so hopefully ECU can join hopefully ECU can join that parade, right?
It would be a good trend for Pirate fans. I think for Mike Houston, they just need a win. When you're in your second year and the COVID hasn't helped and it's really kind of slowed down the rebuilding process he wants to make, we knew they'd be young, restocking the roster, but you need a win for confirmation of what you're doing, and I think a win tonight would be huge for them because you got Navy next week. We know the history there, so when's that first win come? Great opportunity tonight if they can get it.
North, enjoyed it as always. You sound like you got your hands full over there, so we'll let you go.
Oh, terrorists, man! It's full-tone terrorist today, boy. It's been a fun day.
But that's the one and only, right? You're not having another.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Number 2 is going to be joining her pretty soon.
I forgot again.
A full-blown organization going here.
Shirley, did you tell me? I think Brian had already gotten off the air. Shirley was like, "Clip, we talked about this like 3 months ago," and I guess it slipped my mind. I don't know. I was shocked when you talked about it the other day. But
how old are you now?
I'm 38.
Yes, so you're hitting that range, buddy.
Oh, no.
All of a sudden, it's going to 38, 40. That's when things are like, we did? When did we say that?
I hope.
Welcome to the club.
Does that mean I'll forget like all the old Redskins memories I have and like bad stuff like that?
No, the best part is you remember those and you can't remember who's playing currently. Like when you call Bronco Mendenhall Bronco Nagurski.
All right. Yes, that was a flub earlier this week. North, enjoyed it, man. Have a good Saturday evening, man.
All right, Clippy, you too. Enjoy the game.
There he is, Brian North joining us, a.k.a. a young William Shatner, a.k.a. Marky Mark, Jim Moore Jr., and Matt Damon. I don't want to say this to Brian, Glenn, you know what I'm talking about. He was in Fargo, the TV show. He was in Breaking Bad. The actor that they call Fat Damon because he looks like Matt, but he's a little chubbier.
You called him Fat Damon? I used to call him Meth Damon.
It's,
like he looked like a
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons.
Yeah,
you're talking about.
North looks like Matt Damon and Fat Damon combined. Or Meth Damon, you called him that?
That's what I called him during Breaking Bad.
Okay.
God, I hated his character in Breaking Bad so much.
He was the worst.
The dirt worst.
That train episode, and then, yeah, he was a major
He was the
scumbag.
worst character on the entire show, which is saying something because that show had some unlikable people on it.
I need to rewatch that for the second time.
It's a great show filled with unlikable people.
Some people say that's like the Bud Light pregame tailgate.
That's the spice of life, baby.
A great show with unlikable people. All right, let's take a time out. We'll bring on WITN Sports Director Billy Weaver. We'll find out who his celebrity lookalike is when we return after this.
At Tiebreakers, we admit we have a bit of a problem. People love our wings so much that they're starting to sell their home TVs just so they can watch all the sporting events here at Tiebreakers. Seriously, we're glad you love our hand-breaded, hand-cut boneless wings that much, but we really need you to go home at the end of the night. It's okay, we'll be here tomorrow. And when you come back, bring a friend with you. For great food, great friends, and cold beer, we'll see you at Tiebreakers. Tiebreakers, break the chain, eat local.
Hey guys, this is Amanda from the Man Cave. Do you need your hair cut or what about a beard trim? The Man Cave is the newest spot just for you. I'm the local owner and my goal is to make sure you have a place to be pampered and treated like a man. We don't have the girly stuff. Our cave is masculine. Enjoy a game of pool or free snacks or adult beverages during your service. The Man Cave is now open next to Lighting by Design on Fire Tower Road in Greenville.
The Frowls family lives on a lush piece of land called greener pasture, and they work on it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. With its durable construction and features that hook up to dozens of attachments with ease, no job is too tough. The Frowls family runs with us, because this is more than just land, it's home. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Get quality at every turn with Quality Equipment, your local John Deere dealer, with 27 locations in North Carolina and southeastern Virginia. Find out more at QualityEquip.com.
UBE and PirateWear.com are proud to offer the Pirate Nation its largest inventory ever. Brand new Adidas is arriving daily, along with Under Armour, Columbia, and Russell Athletic. UBE is loaded with cargo, and new items are being added daily to PirateWear.com. Be sure to check out our children's store, The Crow's Nest, for all of your young pirates. UBE and PirateWear.com, an ECU tradition for 50 years. Go Pirates!
With rates being historically low, now is the best time to buy or refinance your home. This is Talbot Green with Angel Oak Home Loans. Now is the time to take advantage of the opportunity to buy more home or refinance your current mortgage. The combination of our local team's experience and Angel Oak's wide offerings of products from standard conventional, government, and portfolio loans has something for most financial situations. For more information, call Talbot Green, Joanne Weir, or Wanda Hager at 751-2060.
NMLS 1719250 and 685-842. Equal housing lender.
Introducing new Domino's Carside Delivery. Now when you carry out, you don't even need to leave your car. So you don't have to interrupt your favorite song.
It's time to drive down to the rock show.
Or interrupt your kid's favorite song.
We'll be friends just for one.
You can interrupt this, actually. Try Domino's Carside Delivery when you carry out 3 topping pizzas for $7.99 each, and we'll carry out your order to your car contact-free. Carry out only. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, and charges may vary. Excludes XL and specialty pizzas. Crust availability varies by size. Message and data rates may apply when using Domino's Carside Delivery.
This is Coach Blake Carroll, defense coordinator for East Carolina football, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
You're listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show. Now, with the Pirate Radio scoreboard, here's Shirley Rhodes.
All right, a couple of games in the fourth quarter. BYU has now extended their lead over Texas San Antonio. 21-13 is that score. Iowa has a 31-7 lead over Texas Tech. Georgia leads Tennessee 30-21. In the third quarter is Kansas State 14, TCU 7. Middle Tennessee trailing FIU 21-17 in the third. Boston College has a 10-point lead over Pittsburgh, 24-14 in the third. Arkansas trails Auburn 20-18 in the third quarter, and in the second quarter, it is Navy 7, Temple nothing. And that is a look at your scoreboard. Now let's head back into the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, thank you, Shirley Rhodes. You're the only 10 I see. Chandler used that one downtown.
Oh, yeah, many times.
Available to go again.
0 for 10.
Hey, all you need is that one hit through a squibber through the infield.
You can have a swinging bunt every once in a while.
Yeah, a little, chopper to third. He's playing deep, can't get to it, leg it out.
Yeah.
There you go.
And too bad I don't have speed.
So you got a lot going against you right now.
You got that country speed. You ain't got that city speed.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the key to that is barefoot. I told you, Chandler.
Okay, well, I'll try to go barefoot next time.
Chandler and I were talking about how slow we were, like, playing sports growing up.
Oh, man.
If I was able to play barefoot, like, in the front yard or backyard, if I could have played barefoot in Little League, I'd have been one of the fastest players on the team. It adds so much to your speed. It's incredible.
As long as there's no kind of, like, surprises in the yard. Like those little prickly things.
Right. You got to know your turf.
Yeah.
Or dog turds.
You get those between the toes, it'll slow you down. And smell pretty bad.
Or if it's closer to, like, the fall months and you're outside playing football in the front yard or whatever, you don't want to be running around near pecan tree. I'm from the South. I say pecan. I don't say pecan. Because they break apart and you have the little tiny pieces and they're like little Legos, and you don't want to be playing in the front yard with those.
Did you mention spurs?
Yes, that's what the tiny prickly things.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't fun at all.
Do we have Weaver on the phone?
Yes, we do.
Okay, sorry you had to sit through that, Billy. Billy Weaver joining us. How you doing, Weave?
Sorry I had to sit through that.
Well, now it's your time to shine.
I know that you say that because I was sitting there the whole time thinking, why am I sitting through this? What am I listening to? But then I in my mind found myself saying, it's sand spurs. Yeah, I hate those things.
Sand spurs. There you go.
Okay, so then the big question will be, since you had to sit through that, what is your celebrity look-alike, Billy?
My celebrity look-alike?
So Brian North's celebrity look-alike, we found out, somebody pointed out, was a young William Shatner. And then North got a little crazy and said he had been compared to Matt Damon and Marky Mark and all that. How about you, Weave? Who have you been compared to in the past?
So, well, more of when we were both younger, but I did get Keanu Reeves every once in a while.
Whoa.
I do think...
Whoa.
I do. There's something
Excellent.
What is it? There are strange things afoot at the Circle K.
All right.
Hey, speaking of which, did you guys know that Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is coming back?
Yes, it's already out, actually. I think. Yeah, I think they released it, but I don't know how you access it.
Right, because I didn't think any movies were released during COVID, and I haven't seen any new releases, but I had seen the trailers a couple of times on the internet with Bill and Ted, of course, in their 50s now, but not real sure if I want to see the movie, but
I'm going to see it.
Interesting, I guess.
Well, we talked about it.
I don't know if I would pay for it, but I would watch it.
We talked about it on Pirate Radio Live that Troy D is living like in his best timeline right now, and Billy, maybe you're in this case as well. But Cobra Kai, I don't know if you've watched that, the Karate Kid.
Oh my God, yes.
It's amazing.
I watched the entire thing.
Shirley, Top Gun has a movie coming out, right?
Maverick,
Another
yes,
Top Gun movie.
That's been pushed back to 2021. I found out, which is disappointing but at the same time, I will live with it as long as they bring that sucker in IMAX. That's all I'm asking.
Troy mentioned that there's a Coming to America 2, I guess, coming out.
I guess.
And also, Billy was talking about Bill and Ted. So, like, everything back then, Billy, is back now. So all of us adults can enjoy it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Yeah, let me tell you what, though. Cobra Kai was awesome, and I can't wait to see Season 3. And I heard that they've also inked a Season 4, and they're going to start working on that. So, yeah, I was, as a matter of fact, talking to somebody yesterday about Cobra Kai and suggesting that they watch it on Netflix. I thought I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I binged it in like a weekend, so I am on board for the season 3. All right, now we can get to football. We're almost out of time with you, so let's hurry up and get Billy Weaver's keys to the game coming up tonight as ECU takes on South Florida. Weave, the offense was able to run the ball, like kind of some empty stats, empty yards against UCF week 1. No running the ball last week against Georgia State. 3 Holton Ahlers interceptions. They got to figure something out and figure it out fast. How do they get it going tonight? How does it get clicking, Weave, against South Florida?
Well, they got to play better offensively on the offensive line. And I don't know how you get better at that in 1 week. That's an experience kind of thing. But I tell you what, if that offensive line doesn't play better, you're going to see a whole lot of the same that we've seen the first 2 weeks. You're going to see Holton running for his life like we saw early in that Georgia State game. You're going to see a lack of a running game. Like you said, there may have been some empty yards in the running game late in the UCF game because that game was already in hand when those guys started getting some chunks of yardage on the ground. So, I think your first-team offensive line's playing, second-team defensive linemen and guys that, know the game's in hand. So I don't know how much stock you put into that, but bottom line is they've got to play better up front for ECU, and that's in all aspects. And I hate to just call out the offensive line. That goes for everybody. That goes for wide receivers have to block, running backs when they're not involved in the play and they can chip on somebody or they can, get a shoulder on somebody or a block up front and help give Holton just even, a half a second more. So it's all across the board offensively for the Pirates. They've got to block better.
Billy, defensively, you've seen flashes. They have been very small flashes. I'm trying to maybe think that there are some positives you can take away from the first quarter against UCF. And then, the second half against Georgia State, you only allow 1 offensive touchdown. It's been few and far between, but defensively, Billy, I'll add a key. Pressure on the quarterback would be nice, getting the first sack of the year.
There you go.
Is that where you were going with it?
Well, absolutely. You know what? 0 sacks in the first 2 games. So that's a glaring stat right there, is that you've not gotten 1 sack on a quarterback. Now, obviously, you've played 2 quarterbacks that are pretty good. Especially Dylan Gabriel in week 1. This is a guy that's even being touted by some people as an outside shot, and I say a very outside shot at a Heisman. I don't know if that's just blowing him up a little bit, but it's that just goes to show you how much respect he's getting around the country as a quarterback. So, I get that. Now you're playing a team that's had 4 quarterbacks in the first 3 weeks of the season. So obviously whoever's going to be back there is not a world beater. Get pressure on him. Get in his face. You're going to have – and the thing that is a little bit alarming to me is that it's not for lack of trying, because ECU defensively, Blake Harrell has said, they're blitzing a lot. They're bringing guys. They're bringing heat. They're just not getting to the quarterback and getting sacks. So I think that's the big key defensively for tonight.
Talking to Billy Weaver, WIT and Sports Director on the Fixed NC Live line. All right, Weave, the question of the week. What player in ECU football history would you bring back to play in this game tonight? You can only choose one. Who would help the Pirates the most get a victory against South Florida?
Ooh. Well, okay, since we're talking about defense, and I got to go defense. Mm-hmm. Because I think Holton Ahlers is a good quarterback. I think they've got weapons offensively. You look at the defense that's given up an average of 50 points a game and over 550 yards per game. And we've seen some guys in the secondary play pretty good and get some interceptions. So I'm not going to go in the secondary. So with our key to the game being a guy up front, I have to go with I want to go with Linville Joseph, but at a nose tackle, I don't know if he makes that much of a difference. I mean, he's a run stopper, and he's a guy that can get pressure up the middle, but you'd have to think maybe you'd go with a defensive end. or a linebacker. How about Jeff Carr?
All right. Billy, my choice was Linval Joseph. We were on the same wavelength there. I got a ton of responses on Twitter last night about it. I saw a Jeff Carr, a Robert Jones, a Pernell Griffin. So a lot of people were thinking on the same wavelength, going with the defensive side of the ball and trying to get some pressure on that QB.
Now, you know what? I mean, Linval Joseph is my number one guy defensively. Absolutely, without a doubt. I just, was trying to go with the key and getting pressure on the quarterback, and as a nose tackle, I just don't see that happening. He's more of a run stopper guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get somebody to get some pressure on the quarterback, but I'm with you. Linval would be my number one pick as far as talent, size, and a guy that's just an incredible player.
Weave, good stuff, man. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Bud Light pregame tailgate. We'll check out you on WITN Sports the rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you again Tuesday on Pirate Radio Live.
All right, we'll see you guys. Hopefully we are talking about a victory later tonight.
That would be nice. A late-night celebratory edition of the Bud Light pregame tailgate, of the U.S. Sailor fifth quarter call-in show would be fantastic. All right, we'll take a time out, come back. We will catch you up on scores going on around the nation. We'll make some fantasy picks as well. Get our key players for tonight's contest between ECU and South Florida. That and more is on the way when we return on the Bud Light pregame tailgate after this.
Hidden phone trade-ins, hidden plan requirements, hidden catches. You won't find them at US Cellular because we speak fair. Plus, when you switch right now, you can get $500 off the latest phones. Upgrade to fair. Upgrade to US Cellular. Requires new postpaid service plan, new line port in, credit approval, qualified smartphone purchase, and comes via monthly bill credit on a 30-month RIC. Taxes, fees, and additional terms apply.
This is Brandon Tate, owner and operator of Atlantic Wireless, an authorized agent for US Cellular since 1997. Visit AtlanticWireless.com to find the store near you. We go beyond the call.
You know texting while driving is dangerous. That's not new information. Yet most people admit to doing it anyway. Drivers are 23 times more likely to be involved in a car accident while texting. Know the facts and wait to text. The danger is real and it applies to you. Auto Owners Insurance. The no problem people. Information provided by Virginia Tech Transportation Institute.
This is Jeff Gibson with Town Insurance in Greenville. Call me today at 756-8300. Go Pirates!
Hey Pirate Nation, this is Tom Brown from Brown & Wood Cadillac. We've been serving the Pirate Nation in eastern North Carolina for 83 years. We have 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 showrooms, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer.
This month at Brown & Wood, save over $15,000 off on all new 2020 Cadillac Escalades. Remember, Brown & Wood is the home for the lifetime powertrain warranty for all makes and models.
We're located on Greenville Boulevard next to the Convention Center, or shop us online at brownandwoodauto.com.
This is Dr. Anthony Scalick from Orthopedics East and Sports Medicine Center of Greenville. We offer a variety of services including arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, carpal tunnel surgery, general orthopedics, fracture care, total joint replacement, physical therapy, and on-site MRIs. For experienced and professional medical care, visit our office on W.H. Smith Boulevard in Greenville and online at orthoeast.com. Orthopedics East, providing services to ECU and Pitt County athletics for over 35 years. Go Pirates!
Ahoy, mateys! To keep those cars clean, you need the Pirates Cove Fast Pass.
The new Pirates Cove Car Wash and Haviland Express Lube on Glen Burnie Road in New Bern is now open. Pirates Cove is now offering Fast Passes for $9.99 for new Fast Pass customers. These Fast Passes are good in New Bern and at all 3 Greenville locations. Visit us in Greenville on Fire Tower Road, Memorial Drive, and on East 10th Street. And now in New Bern on Glen Burnie Road.
So we have you surrounded. Pirates Cove, the official car wash partner of ECU Athletics.
If you're like many, you may have put on the Corona 5, 10, or even 15 over the last 2 months. Well, the weather is warm and it's time to get that body back on track. At Clean Eats, we have you covered. Our weekly meal plan will quickly help you get back to where you want to be. Order online at cleaneats.com. Our cafe is back open, sanitized, and waiting to serve you healthy lunch and dinner options for dine-in, takeout, curbside, or even delivered through our delivery partners. Clean Eats, it's a lifestyle. 805 Red Banks Road, Arlington Village.
This is former ECU football player Bryce Williams, and you're listening to Pirate Radio, the voice of the Pirate Nation.
listening to the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate, powered by Bud Light, the official beer of the ECU Pirates, and proudly distributed by Carolina Eagle Distributing since 1989. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Listen to Pirate Radio Live every weekday afternoon from 3 to 6 on 92.7 FM in Greenville and 104.1 FM in Washington, or you can watch on YouTube or Facebook Live. PRL is hosted by Clip Brock and yours truly, and features the latest breaking news, top-notch guests, and all your favorite Pirate Radio personalities like Troy D. and Ellerby, The Voice, Jeff Charles, Brian Bailey, Stephen Igo, Billy Weaver, Brian North, Tony Collins, Bryce Williams, Coach Rick Smith, Ronnie Woodward, Morgan Ehlers, Mike Mullis, and more. Join us on Monday, starting at 3 o'clock for Pirate Radio Live right here on the Voice of the Pirate Nation. Now let's head back into the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Here's your host, Clip Brock.
All right, thank you, Shirley Rhodes. Who was our big winner last hour? I don't remember hearing that name. Do you remember?
Jeff Dover.
Ah, JD. J Dove.
Okay.
J Dove. I don't know. Whatever they call it. Congratulations, Jeff. Our big winner of a case of Bud Light and a $25 gift card to Parker's Barbecue. The Parker's was awesome.
Man, did he win a big one there.
And Georgia has completely dominated the second half. That is at least 3 turnovers in the second half for Tennessee. That is a strip sack and a scoop and score, and it's 43-21 Bulldogs. A lot of people had the under in this game, which was in the 40s, and Georgia is going to go over that themselves in this game against Tennessee. All right, let's see. Chandler, what was your favorite part of the Parkers today? Because we had so many options.
The first of all, the macaroni and cheese is something else. It's something. I mean, it's like macaroni and cheese on steroids.
On roids, okay.
The slaw's really good. The fried chicken was amazing, and I was able to borrow some hot sauce from Glenn Griffin. Thank you, Glenn, by the way, for the hot sauce and everything. The Q was good.
Okay, sounds like you pretty much went around the table.
Oh, yeah.
Had a little bit of everything. That's the way
I dabbled in a little bit of everything.
Got to try it all. Parker's, 3 locations here in Greenville, and they can cater your parties. You can have a party there at Parker's, or you can, get takeout. I like the takeout option, or the sit-down family style. Got some sweet tea as well. And, man, it was awesome. They hooked us up here, and I'll be enjoying that later tonight on the U.S. Sailor 5th Quarter Call-In Show as well. All right, Chandler, we got your player. Did I ask you, Shirley, and Glenn, the one player you could bring back for tonight's game? Who would you pick? So I went with Linville Joseph. Chandler, you went with?
Chris Johnson / Fentavious Cooper / Van
That's
Eskridge.
not fair, no.
No, that's not fair.
All right,
you got to go with one.
All right, Fentavious Cooper. Screen passes.
Get the ball to
Coop!
Our last 1,000-yard rusher at ECU, Ventavious Cooper. Surely we have stalled, so you can think about this. Should we stall more?
It's not. No, I'm kind of going between 2, and I just can't. I can't decide which one I want to go with. You know what? I'll go with a very healthy Zeke Bigger.
His name came up and by somebody in my replies last night, and a lot of linebackers came up. Jeff Carr, Pernell Griffin, Robert Jones, and Zeke's name.
Yeah, I was kind of going between Quentin Cotton and
Quentin Cotton.
When you said very healthy, I thought you were going to say Quentin Cotton.
No, well, yeah, but also because when I think it was like Zeke's senior year, or was it his junior year? He injured his shoulder, and it didn't seem like he was quite the same after that. So that's why I would say a healthy Zeke Bigger, but Quentin Cotton. I'll even throw in Dakota Marshall in there.
Somebody on the defensive side of the ball. It sounds like Shirley wants to add to the stable. All right, let's go to the big dog, Glenn Griffin.
I think I need some beef on that offensive line.
All right,
and
where's the beef? Glenn Griffin.
And I don't want just any beef. I want beef that has experienced hardship in their career.
Experienced beef.
I want beef that knows how to take a young line and gel them together around him at left tackle. I want Garrett McGinn.
Bring back Garrett McGinn for another rodeo.
He wants him just because he's a good interview.
I just like Garrett.
They'd be a great post-game interview.
And give him a throw out.
And he played every position, so like you could put him literally anywhere.
That's my point, is that you wanted a guy that you can move around the line.
Would it freak out the defense if you moved him every play?
Possibly.
Yeah, I like that. Little head games with the opposing defense. All right, there are the picks. Now what we'll do is pick a current player for our fantasy selections tonight. Glenn won week 1 with CJ. I had Sneed last week. I had Blake. And you had Prohl. And that, I'll have to do those numbers real quick. Because they both had 11 catches. They both had a special teams touchdown. So I think it comes down to the yards. And I want to say Sneed had more than Blake Prohl. But I'm going to check on that. By the way, Navy, a 14-10 lead over Temple right now. Shirley, you can go ahead and...
Also, by the way, Harold Varner, 1 shot off the lead.
Wow. How about that? That's awesome. Shirley, last week, Sneed had 105 yards, Prohl had 83.
Dang.
That's the only separator because they both had 11 catches, both had a touchdown, but Sneed got them by yards by 2 points. So I'll take the dub last week. Shirley, who's your pick this week?
I'm going to go with the guy that's got to get involved in the offense. I'm going to go with CJ.
Yeah, it's about time for a CJ explosion, and hopefully that happens tonight. All right, Chandler, who do you want?
I think we're going to try to run the ball and open that run game up again. Give me Rajee Harris.
Wow. All right, going with the Frosh. I'm going to just take Sneed again because that's a good thing to do. Glenn?
I'll take Blake Prohl because I feel like the heat's on CJ and Sneed, and so maybe as the 2 receiver, Blake gets some opportunities.
11 catches last week for both Sneed and Prohl. Just 1 catch for C.J. Johnson last week, and this passing game has got to get clicking for the Pirates tonight down in Tampa. All right, thanks everyone for checking us out today on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate. Thanks to Parker's Barbecue for the awesome pregame spread. Shirley, Glenn, Chan, man, great job. Thanks to all the guests that were on today's show. We'll be back with you on the Bud Light Pregame Tailgate next Saturday, 8 a.m. right here on Pirate Radio. And we will be back with you on the U.S. Sailor 5th Quarter Call-In Show immediately after this game between ECU and South Florida. Everybody enjoy the game. We'll see you afterwards on the 5th quarter. Go Pirates!
You've been listening